Round 9 of the Club 100 Sprint Championships for 2021. We're having the shortest intro ever because this is the start of heat number 1. Hussein Rashid from pole position, driver number 10 there. Jonah Barker, number 63, and Sam Slater, number 51, your top 3 as we go up to Christmas Corner for the first time in this race. 12 heats scheduled for today, and it is indeed Hussein Rashid who will lead us down into Christmas Corner and down into Ashby Corner for the first time. Jonah Barker down the inside, number 63. Very quick introductions. Good morning to Mr. Howard Mitchell.
Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, everybody. Nice intro to wake us up a little bit there. That's Ned Douglas defending against Sam Slater there, and he's taken to the grass, I think. Well, I don't think he definitely took to the grass there, onto the back straight. We're here at Whilton Mill for Club 100. One of those combinations you just gotta love. And yes, round 9, race 1 or heat 1, and you could see there, Andrew, Rihanna Percox in the number 5, red number plate denoting her as the only Class 1 driver in this first race of the day. We've got 3 classes, or subclasses, I suppose I should say, within the lightweight class for you here today. And Rihanna there making a move on Ned Douglas. That will have taken her up into 5th place. And who was that going across the grass there?
I think it may have been Stephen Westwood, judging from the helmet. New suit for Stephen, but he was running in that region of the order. But there's Reese Pope, driver number 42, one of our C2 runners in this race. Good opportunity this if Reese and Jonah Barker can work together. They've got 1.5 seconds over the rest of the field as Rihanna Percox goes down the inside of Hussein Rashid into the boot. You're going to see that move a lot today, but Hussein Rashid's going to try and fight back. Loses the back end, though, over the toe of the boot. In the end, has to concede the position. So it's Pope from Barker, Sam Slater up into 3rd place, Rihanna Percox now 4th, 3 minutes on the clock, Howard.
Yes, indeed, coming thick and fast. These heats will be throughout the day. Ned Douglas now defending against Adam Wheeldon up the hill towards Christmas Corner and manages to hold that off. Some good battles going on throughout, not too much field spread in this 19-kart race. Go on, Andrew.
Problem for Hussein Rashid falling down the order there, looking very slow out of Christmas Corner. Yes. So he's out of the mix in this one. There is Stephen Westwood, number 81, recovering back through the C3 novice class. He's having a battle there with Jake Wilkins in the number 29.
Now this will be a bit of a, I'm sure Rihanna will have identified this as a bit of a gift race, mate, because not only is she the only Class 1 runner in this heat, but this is a circuit that's done very well for her, or proved very successful for her in the past, as there is a confirmation there of Hussein Rashid dropping down the order there, and a change for the lead as well of Jonah Barker getting by on Reese Pope.
Yeah, good move there from Jonah. Having a look there at Bryn Albin, who's been in some really good form recently in his number 16 kart. Fighting with Stephen Westwood over 11th place. And number 19 of Ned Douglas still up there in the top 5. Here are your leaders. So Jonah Barker there, number 63, ahead of Reese Pope, number 42. But they still look like they're working together quite nicely, Howard.
Yeah, indeed. They know how the sprint, or how to construct a good sprint race, if you like. You don't want to lose it all in the first few minutes. So working together a little bit, but one wonders if now this is where the gloves start to come off. That was the fastest lap of the race from Reese Pope, 54.256. So as they head up the hill, you can see now Pope is really trying, ducking his head, shrimping as that's known in karting, to try and get any aerodynamic advantage. Further back though, here's Callum Brule, side by side with Jed Toole, and gets the job done there into Christmas Corner. So that will have taken Mr. Brule up into 7th place.
Yep, another driver with a lot of experience around here. Stephen Westwood looking down the inside there of Justin Draper. Justin Draper currently our C3 leader in the 111, and I think Westwood did get that move done. So more progress from Stephen Westwood, who was very quick in the free test, free practice session on Friday evening. As there's a commentator curse striking there. Stephen Westwood off on into Ozier's. Final lap board, though, is out for the leaders.
Yep, absolutely. Jonah Barker has been controlling this one well since he took the lead a couple of laps ago, but he is under, there's no doubt that he's under a lot of pressure here. He goes to driver's right. Pope is going to go to driver's left and try around the outside and set something up into Boxing Day. They're going to bump bumper to bumper, side by side. They're still side by side into increments, and Barker somehow hangs on. That was a beautiful exchange with good racing room given, one must say. Through Ashby Corner they go. Good battle over third place as well. Sam Slater versus Rihanna Percox. Look out for that in the back of shot. Through Wilkins they go. Pope is now a little far back to try anything into Osiers unless he gets good drive onto the back straight. Meanwhile, though, the battle for third is anyone's guess. Slater's still with the advantage. Here come your top two into the boot for the last time. I think Barker's going to have enough in hand. Is there anything going for third place behind? No, yes, Percox is through. Percox is through, but it's going to be Jonah Barker who takes the first win of the day, winning heat number 1 in the lightweights for round 9. Reese Pope in second. Percox confirmed there in third. Sam Slater, Ned Douglas, Adam Wielden, Callum Brule and Jed Toole round out your top 8. Bryn Albon has got up to 9th. There's been some drama for Chris Lewis-Evans and Sam Essery on that last lap, so it's Bryn Albon 9th, 10th for your C3 winner there, Jake Wilkins. That rounds out your top 10 as they continue to cross the line. Good race that, mate. I think already we're looking ahead, though, to Heat 2, probably, because I can hear them.
A classic sprints race there. We're going to take a short break on the commentary and be back for Heat number 2. That's out next. Heat 2, first appearance of the day for all these drivers. Let's have a look through your grid and see how this one shapes up. Fraser Brunson has pole position for heat number 2. Dan Healy joins him on the front row. Ed Bars and Josh Adams. Josh Adams, who's been very, very quick so far this weekend, are on row 2. Mike Coppin and James Martin start this race on row number 3. Bailey Morgan and Garrett Berry start in the top 10 on row 4. Chris Powell returning. The former Premier Sprint champion Premium Powell is here on row 5 alongside Dan Cohen. Andrew Rabbage and Oscar Lancaster form up on row number 6. Into our novices, Rizwan Mange and Sam Morris, they're there on row number 7. Peter Sharp and James Dunnett on row 8. Russell Cooper and Michael Daltrey on row 9. It's a 19-cart field wrapped out by Aaron Stillwell.
And we get to breathe for a moment now, because there's some practice laps. So,
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining your Alpha live stream for round 9 of the 2021 Club 100 Sprint Championships. As Andrew said, this is myself, Howard Mitchell, and Andrew Mather in the comms box. We're from Double Dash Motorsport Media. And yes, bit of a frantic start, but as I was saying,
early starts. We're ahead of schedule.
Indeed, which is, means that everything must be running ship-shape on the Club 100 side here at Whilton Mill. But yes, as ever, with the Sprints Championships, we have got lightweight and heavyweight classes in action for you today. Lightweights are out now, and heavyweights will be out later on today in the afternoon. So if you're here for the heavyweights, they're out a little bit late. But stick around for the lightweights, because this is a class that has provided, well, both of these classes really. I've thoroughly enjoyed covering Club 100 so far this season. It's been a really, really good year. Just to remind you of how this all works, we've got 12 heats going on in each of our classes, and then we'll go into a series of finals. There will be C, B and A finals after the heats. The heats are about setting up the best qualification position for those finals, but there are also points on offer in the championship, so that all counts. It's 20, just to give a sort of context of the scaling of points, 20 points for a win in one of these heats. It's 130 points for the win in the A final. And as I mentioned briefly in the first heat, there are 3 classes out today. Excuse me, 3 subclasses out in lightweight. Your class 1s, 2s and 3s, all in the same Club 100 machinery, these Club 100 ROTAX Evo karts, but it's just based on former successes, general pace and prowess. The experienced kart drivers are in the class 1. Class 3 is our novice class, drivers who are cutting their teeth in Club 100 karting. It just gives everybody something to fight for within their own performance class.
Good morning to everybody. You can see a good plethora of people in the chat already. Hello to Rogerio Mendes, Michael Burke, Ryan Sandel, who says, don't restart on the grass. Did someone get excluded yesterday? Steve Hicks, who, as ever, his eye is on the prize and on the competition, has just said that Dan Healy's gone for a kart change, so he's going to have a cold kart at the start of this race. That is an elected decision by the individual drivers. There's your weather forecast. Pretty good conditions, I'd say, for karting. It's dry, it's cool, which is good for the engines. It's also not foggy.
I was going to say, unlike yesterday, we can see the drivers at this time in the morning, which wasn't a luxury that we were enjoying yesterday in the endurances. It was rather fun, though, to be honest, when I was out in practice in the thick fog. It was a different I haven't done that in a good few years.
Someone else going in for a kart change now. That looked pretty... OK, we are going to go around again, so that driver will have opportunity to change their car. There's Josh Adams in the blue suit with the white shoulders. Keep an eye out for Josh today. He was rapid yesterday in the endurance race to the extent, and regular viewers will know what I mean by here, he was tailing Joe Holmes for a good part of that race and looked in very good nick, Howard.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely one to watch, sort of up-and-coming talent, definitely to keep an eye on with that one. So going to be interesting to see how he gets on in this first heat of his day. Just to finish the sort of format discussion, I said that there are 12 heats. There are 4 rotations of heats, if you like. Each driver is going to take part in 3 heats ahead of whichever final they end up qualifying for. So we're going to have 4 rotations of 3 heats. So each driver will be in 1 race out of each rotation. So if you're a driver, you'll be in 1 race out of heats 1, 2 and 3, 1 race out of 4, 5 and 6, and so on and so forth through to the 12th heat. So if you're here to support a particular driver and they're not on the grid that Andrew read out a moment ago, stay tuned. They'll be out in the next race, or you've just missed their first race. It's either or they're in the heavyweights. So that's how that will work. And just a final reminder that your Class 1s are denoted by your red number plates. Black number plates here denote either Class 2 or Class 3 runners. We do head over to live timing. If you've got a monitor, spare live.alphatiming.co.uk, click on Club100, and there it's giving it even more, even higher resolution detail, if you like, because there the reds are Class 1, black number plates are Class 2, blue is your Class 3. You'll also see that timing tower on the left once the race gets underway.
Dan Cohen is going for a kart change here late on, but we have got a little bit of excess time, which allows the drivers to keep circulating on these formation laps. So just to remind you of the grid for this race, let's just get it up on the screen. There we go. Fraser Brunton, number 71, will be on pole position. Ed Barnes, number 2, alongside on the front row. And this is a big day, of course, for Dan Healy and anyone competing to take the title. It really does feel like this morning is the start of, you know, similar to the Formula 1 in Istanbul today. Today marks the start of the journey towards crowning our champions. Every single race between now and the end of the season will be streamed. Today here at Whilton, Lyd in a few weeks' time, and then the season finale at Bayford Meadows for Club 100 2021. And this could be a big race with a number of championship contenders in it. We are under starters orders here at Whilton Mill. Away goes Fraser Brunton from pole position. Good start for Fraser Brunton. And Ed Barnes is going to nip through and take P2 straight away off of Dan Healy. Josh Adams scrapping there with Mike Coppin as they stretch up to Christmas corner for the first time in this one. Bailey Morgan coming through the middle of all of that as well in the number 14. The blue and pink overalls there, side by side with Mike Coppin off of Boxing Day, but that was a really, really good start, Howard, from Fraser Brunton.
Yeah, really grabbed the ball by the horns with that start and off and away. Good racing room shown through Christmas corner. They were splaying out 4 wide, even 5 wide into there. I thought that Mike Cohen, this is the 34 of Dan Cohen, battling away with James Martin. There as they come onto the back straight, so he's had a decent start as Cohen. Did you mention he was one of the drivers who went for a kart change? So. Yeah,
he was the last one to go for a kart change, so now it's going to be the problem for him that his kart's going to be cold at the moment. It takes a couple of laps for these ROTAX Evo engines to come up to temperature and you start getting the performance out of them. So he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck early on.
Yeah, Bailey Morgan under pressure here from Garrett Berry on the way up the hill here. This is for 5th place, and Berry's got the job done. No, he hasn't. He went too deep into the Christmas, and Bailey Morgan saw the opportunity to swoop back, so that was well judged there by Morgan, and for now he retains 5th place. There's a certain Mike Coppin in the number 3 kart now, all over the back of Garrett Berry there for 6th place. Coppin will be looking to make some places up in this first heat. One of the Class 1 runners. He's got Premium Powell, as we like to call him. Chris Powell behind, and who's that? Who's coming to
our
a
Class
stop?
3s.
We'll double check that one on timing as they come round. But for now, at the end of lap number 2, it is Fraser Brunton who still leads. Ed Bars, though, trying to give chase, although not at the moment, not able to reduce the gap. Dan Healy's trying to catch up to Bars as well, so that's one to watch. Here we go up the hill, though, again for the repeat performance of Morgan versus Berry, and this time Garrett Berry gets the job done. Mike Coppin, it's good sensible driving from Coppin, doesn't want to get a penalty for bump and pass on the overtake, and managed to keep Chris Powell behind him. But just to explain, there are 2 Chris Powells who compete in Club 100, the man we're referring to as Premium Powell here is the has competed in Club 100 for longer, former champion, and we don't see him at every round these days, but we sometimes see him, particularly here at Whilton Mill. So good to see him with that. But that is a bit of a disruptor today. He's not in the championship. He's just here to have some fun, as Mike Coppin has now got by on Bailey Morgan. So Morgan down to 7th place. And this is Josh Adams. Here's one of the drivers that Andrew's talking about to look out for, and a nice move there into Christmas corner on Dan Healy. And gives the gesture to say, let's work together and catch on up to the top 2. That was exactly the kind of thing you were talking about, Andrew. A good move there from Josh Adams.
I'm loving how much confidence Josh is driving with this weekend. You know, that is a top driver that he's just put that move on, and you would have thought, you know, he's been doing that kind of stuff for years. This really does feel like a big step forward from Josh over the last couple of rounds. As I say, it was very, very quick yesterday in the endurance. And look at Garrett Berry there in 5th place, doing a great job, leader of the C2 mode. Just to go back to that incident we saw earlier, it was Rizwan Mange who's fallen down the order. And so he's now in 18th place. Fastest lap of the race from Chris Powell, 54.002. He's still got it as the old chap. He's still there with that pace in the Gulf style helmet, and he is starting to put Bailey Morgan under a fair amount of pressure. Down the inside goes Garrett Berry on Dan Healy. Dan Healy, this is not the way that he would have wanted to start his day, and in fact I think he's got back through. But the driver, as Mike Coppin looks down the inside of Berry now, he's going to have a block pass there into Ozies. Berry takes to the grass there onto the back straight. For me, Coppin was well alongside. It's kind of inevitable when you're on the outside. You do have to yield as the corner tightens there. But and then, off is the number 32 of Daniel Cohen, and deep in the plastic bollards there.
Yeah, so he's gone on.
Sorry, it's Sam Morris. It's Sam Morris, number 32.
Yes, apologies there. So yeah, he's gone off so far at Ozies that he was actually picked up by the camera at turn 1, is how I read that one, given the side of the bollards he was. But yes, apologies, fans of Dan Cohen. He is still running A-OK.
They were side by side though, those 2 karts.
Yes.
So Dan Cohen may have been involved. Ed Barr's starting to close in on Fraser Brunton here, just less than 2 minutes on the clock, and a new fastest lap of the race last time around, 53.822.
Yeah, he's starting to ramp up the pressure, is Ed Bars. And this one is, and he's timing this brilliantly, isn't he? In fact, he looked to me like he's gaining quite significantly on this lap as well. So Brunton, who has been controlling this one so well after that lightning start at the green light, is now being put under serious pressure, the first serious pressure of the race, to be honest. And this is possibly going to be a bit of a grandstand finish to our Heat 3. And don't count out the likes of Josh Adams there in 3rd place. And Dan Healy is staying with him for now as well. Then comes your battle that was that Chris Powell getting past Bailey Morgan there over the top of the hill here. at Whilton Mill.
So Powell up to 5th place now. I think he's got past, well, he has got past Mike Coppin as well. In fact, he's let Bailey Morgan back through.
Okay.
Now, I wonder if that was as a result of earlier in the lap, him getting by but it not being fully clean. Good work there from Chris Powell, ensuring he doesn't get a penalty. But look at this, 1st and 2nd going at it. They're going to have one more lap, 40 seconds on the clock. Lap time's around 53 seconds. There is the last lap board. And with the context of this championship, we're yet to see Jack O'Neill race here today, but he'll be coming up soon. If Ed Bars could get a win here in heat number 2, that would be a big, big statement for the rest of the day.
Absolutely. Chris Powell all over the back of Bailey Morgan's bumper, but still can't get the pass to him. Mike Coppin looks for the opportunity there through the corner we colloquially call Boxing Day. They're side by side heading down towards Ashby. This is going to give Bailey Morgan a little bit of breathing space and give a bit of opportunity to Garrett Berry.
It is indeed. This has been a great battle between these 4 drivers across the course of the last few minutes. We are on the last lap, keeping an eye on Fraser Brunton and Ed Bars. Does Ed Bars go for a move, or does he just take the points here? And I think that is what he's going to do here. Fraser Brunton is going to come around the final corner and take a brilliant victory from pole position. Very much set up by that strong start. Fraser Brunton takes heat number 2 ahead of Ed Bars. Josh Adams, a very impressive 3rd, Dan Healy 4th. Bailey Morgan top C2 in 5th, followed home by the returning Chris Powell, Mike Coppin, Garrett Berry, Oscar Lancaster and James Martin. That's top 10. Andrew Ravage and Daniel Cohen are 11th and 12th. Top C3 runner was Aaron Stillwell, at least provisionally. James Dunnett, Peter Sharp, Rizwan Mangat, Michael Daltrey, Russell Cooper and Sam Morris wrap out the 19 runners in that one. Well, a very good start to the day for Fraser Brunton, and our young drivers really putting on a show so far today. We're taking a short break. Next up out of the circuit will be heat number 3. Heat 3 out next. First appearance for all of these drivers. Let's have a look at the grid. Lloyd McGeoch-Williams on pole position. Greg Smith, last year's C3 champion, alongside on the front row. Charlie Summers and Tom Dix on row 2. Alistair Irvin and Tom Kemping. Great to have Tom back there on row 3. Matthew Cockram and Peter Knight on row 4. Keith Segal and Dante Dillon on row 5. Jason Bradbury and Dan Seeger on row 6. Into our novices, Simon Sharp is the first of them, alongside Kim Ely on row number 7. Luke Dunnett and Arthur Desai on row 8. Dean Everest makes it 17 runners in this one.
You know, it was interesting what you were saying about in the previous heat, mate, about Josh Adams. Does actually, it feels like it's a bit of a theme to me whenever we're here at Whilton Mill, because was it not 2 years ago that one of the drivers in this heat, Peter Knight, really came to the fore? Another young driver who I remember putting a performance that day, and then some of the experienced drivers were going over to John Viger of Club 100 going, who is this guy? Who's that guy? So it's a little bit of a talent. I don't know what you call it. A talent scouting circuit, is that even a concept? But yeah, it's an interesting one. But you are right. Adams driving brilliantly and took a good 3rd place in that first heat of the day. Heat 3 drivers just out for their practice laps now, and this is still, of course, in our first sort of rotation, as we like to think of it, of our heats. Do send in your comments via the YouTube stream. We'll try and keep tabs on that throughout the day. But yes, round 9, as Andrew was talking about ahead of that last heat, we're in round 9 now, mate. We've got 3 rounds of this, well, including today's running. We've got the 3 rounds of this championship left, and there is that feeling that we're entering in. I don't think it's just us as commentators. No. There's that feeling that you're entering into that last stint of the season.
We're doing a 400-metre race.
Yep.
We're coming around the final bend now and into the last 100 metres.
Yeah.
Is how I akin it to. Let's talk about this 3rd heat. Some interesting drivers in this. Dante Dillon, one of our British Indoor Karting Championship champions. He starts P10 in this one. Dan Seeger, it's one of those, I don't have the records to hand, but I always think Dan Seeger, Whilton Mill, things go well.
Yes.
So let's watch out for him from 12th place on the grid. And I'm interested to see how Tom Kempink does as well. 6th place on the grid. I think it's his first time doing Club 100 Sprints in a while, but he's got a lot of experience in these karts, a lot of experience around this circuit because he's fairly local to here. And in previous years, he's been a BUKC graduates champion as well. So very quick peddler alongside Alistair Irvin there on row 3.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. So an interesting field that we've got here at Whilton Mill, which, won't lie, slightly more overcast than the shot you've got right now necessarily shows, but it is always a good track to come to. We're here in Northamptonshire, England, just outside of Daventry, for those familiar with the area, and always a popular track on the calendar.
Hello to Peter O'Connor and Jay Elliott. Thank you for tuning in, chaps. We're cheering on Chris Powell, as I say, in the last race. I thought I'd just give a read out to their messages, especially Peter's, who said, "Go on, Powell, rustier than an old nail, but confident the farmer will do well." Thank you very much. Keep your comments coming in. Good morning to Kieran Callie-Rye as well. Who is the handsome chap on the thumbnail? I mean, that's an inaccurate description of the thumbnail. But it's Callum Brule, who is the face of Club 100 Sprints here today. And we've already seen him out there once. There's the number 17 of Jason Bradbury, king of the B final.
Yes.
In recent streamed rounds. But will hopefully be going through into the A final directly.
In some ways, it's a bit of a dubious title, isn't it? Because what it basically means is you.
So it's a skill.
It is a skill. Don't get me wrong. But what I mean by that is we've got our system. We haven't touched on this yet, but for anyone unfamiliar with this format, we have the repechage system, which is basically a promotion system from the C final to the B final, and then the B final to the A final. So if you're in the top 4 of the C final, you get repechage, as the regulations call it, onto the back of the B final grid, and the top 2 of the B final get through to the A final. So there is an opportunity for a reprieve if your heats don't go to plan, but that's not the way that these drivers would choose to do this necessarily. But nevertheless, Bradbury has done a very good job this season of taking those B final opportunities to get into the A final. Are we going round again? We very much are. And I think that's because I just saw a driver split into the pit lane to get a different kart, and there is the 77 emerging.
Simon Sharp, who's due to start 13th, first in C3s.
Yep.
We should explain a little bit. We often talk about start from the front and middle and back. The same applies for the C3s, by the way, in their mini part of the grid. So Simon this will be his chance to start from the front of the novice pack.
Yep.
Similarly, from the middle, 5 or 6 carts. And the novices in each heat, and 1 on the back later on in the morning.
That's a policy that I agree with, having once done a British University's Karting Championship rookie start from pole here at Whilton Mill. Actually, did that in my very first year at university, and it was slightly scary to be on pole as someone who had done 1 race previously. So it's a good idea, I think, to keep those Class 3 drivers towards the back so that they can learn the art of starting a race before they're literally given the job of leading away. Here, though, we are ready to lead away. Lloyd McGee-Williams on your right, driver's left, and the 98 of Greg Smith alongside. And so they're still side by side into oblivion. That means Smith is going to have the inside line into turn 2, and he gets it. And there's some people swirling out onto the curbing there as well. And that means that our pole sitter has not had the best start. Now it's the 92 of Tom Dix who goes for the lead on Greg Smith at the top of the hill, Christmas corner. They all managed to make it through Christmas corner relatively cleanly, but it is Tom Dix who has got to the front there. Greg Smith slotting into the 2nd place where he started, and it looks to me was that Alistair Irvin who's got up a few positions as well to 4th place, because in 3rd that is our pole sitter of McGee-Williams, as Peter Knight goes side by side here with Dante Dillon into Ozier's, and I believe made that new stick there, so he's moving up the order as well. Looks here though like it's a dream start for Tom Dix. He's got a few kart lengths in hand over Greg Smith and Lloyd McGee-Williams, and indeed Alistair Irvin, who rounds out the top 4 as they finish lap 1.
Yeah, really good start there from Tom Dix, using all of his experience. Simon Sharp has a cone penalty, so he's knocked one of the Collins over there on lap number 1. Alistair Irvine down the inside, driver number 36 in the pink lid there, still side by side, well defended there by Lloyd McGeoch-Williams. That is something that you can do here at Whilton Mill through Christmas Corner. It's an uphill braking zone, positively cambered as well. You can hold it round the outside and go for that form of defence that we've just seen there. Is Tom Kemping down the inside now, driver number 143. Here he is on the scene and gets a move done there.
Yep, absolutely, and Dante Dillon trying to follow through as well here in that number 50 kart. Was almost working with Kemping there to try and bump draft through down at Osiers. Didn't quite pay off because Kemping's now a couple of karts ahead, and now Peter Knight fancies his chances on Dante Dillon and gets the job done through paddock, which is something we don't see so much these days at Whilton Mill after the reprofiling of the apex curve there at paddock. But good little move there from Peter Knight, takes himself up to 7th as Tom Kemping now puts pressure on Lloyd McGeoch-Williams, and there's pod-to-pod contact there, and is Alistair Irvine going to swoop round all of them? They're going to go 3 abreast into Boxing Day. That very rarely works, and it didn't work there. Alistair Irvine has to cut across the grass there and rejoins, but Peter Knight has definitely got by, and there's a penalty for Greg Smith in 2nd place for a jump start.
Matthew Cochran off there. Restart on the grass there, Matthew. That was at Ashby Corner. We should explain as well, ladies and gentlemen, for those at home, probably seeing drivers flying and spinning off the grass and thinking, well, JV tells everybody to get on the brakes when you are out of control. The grass is incredibly slick here this weekend. It is holding a lot of moisture. We had a bit of rain overnight in the region, and as I said yesterday, it was very dewy yesterday on Saturday, so that is why you're seeing some of the karts going a little bit further, shall we say, than previous visits here to Whilton Mill. Lots of jostling going on there. Jason Bradbury's having a good run in this race in 7th place, trying to get past Dante Dillon. Alistair Irvine still fighting with Lloyd McGeoch-Williams, this time over 8th place.
Yeah, and that's bulked both of them up. Actually, Alistair had a bit of a fluffed move there into Ashby, and it's meant that he's now got very close attentions of that number 20 there going onto the back straight. I don't mean the number 20, do I? Yes, I do. It's Dean Everest, who is your Class 3 leader at the moment.
And it's come from the back of the C3
pack
as well, so that's a really good run from Dean so far.
Yeah, apologies, Dean. That actually took me a moment to read. He's having a brilliant run in this one, in 10th place there, so well done to him so far. A lot of personal bests being set now, and coming up the hill once again, we've got Lloyd McGeoch-Williams versus Alistair Irvine again.
Penalty for Tom Kemping, forcing a driver wide. If you're wondering what that acronym is on live dots, Alpha Timing, FDW, forced driver wide. I imagine it was last corner. I didn't see the incident myself. Apologies if it was on the screen and I've missed it. But by the by, that is a penalty for Tom Kemping. He'll lose a couple of places at the end of this race. Dante Dillon having a good run here in 6th place. The eagle-eyed amongst you will note the NTU Motorsport logo on the back of this suit. We'll talk about that in a moment, because there is a move being put in by the 159 of Arthur Desai. That's a good move there, and up to 11th place, I think.
Yeah, I think that was him getting by on Charlie Summers. Indeed it was. In fact, Charlie dropping down a few positions there. I think just taken, when your rhythm gets upset, it's so easy to lose multiple positions. There's still Irvine and McGeoch-Williams are battling away, and now it's Irvine who has the advantage as they head through the top part of the lap, through the Inkerman's right-hand kink and down towards Ashby. That's Irvine up into 8th place. We look slightly further ahead in the order, which is Peter Knight versus Tom Kemping, and Dante Dillon, as you say, Andrew, having a really good opening race of the day here. Tried the move into Osiers, but didn't make it stick.
I'll go back to NTU Motorsport now. Nottingham Trent University, and I mention it because BUKC is coming. It's approaching that part of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Keep an eye out on the various social medias and at @and across everything. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all of that business. Details coming about that. We're getting very excited about it indeed.
Penalty for Luke Dunnett for forcing a driver wide, and also managed to pick up a warning for hitting monster curve. That was upon timing. That refers to the large curve in the apex of that reprofile. Probably just calling it reprofile. It's been that way now for a couple of years now. It was 2019 when that apex curve was changed, but that is referred to as the monster curve in penalties, and yeah, it's one you don't want to hit. Here, though, is a change for second place. Dan Seeger ahead of Greg Smith, and that is shown here whether it will update itself as they cross the start-finish line this time around. Also a cone penalty, unfortunately, for Luke Dunnett, so a few costly penalties there. Jason Bradbury now on the back of Dante Dillon, who's still chasing Tom Kemping, who's dropped a little bit off the back of Peter Knight now, but Kemping taking a mid-trap defensive position into Christmas corner. What this does is it allows Bradbury to get up onto the back of Dillon. And, you can see there, Irvin's dropped a little bit off the back of this, I think through his battling with Lloyd McGeoch-Williams. They did start battling away very early on, didn't they, in this one? Yeah. Irvin's race was slightly upset by that off-track moment where he had to cut across the grass, but I think it was difficult to find the momentum afterwards.
Last lap board then, and here come the leaders through the final corner. Tom Dix takes a very straightforward victory there in Heat 3, and another really good drive at Whilton Mill from Dan Seeger, top of the C2s. Greg Smith third provisionally, but has penalties. Peter Knight fourth, Tom Kemping fifth, Dante Dillon sixth, Jason Bradbury seventh. Solid start for Jason there. Alistair Irvin eighth, Lloyd McGeoch-Williams. Great drive from Dean Everest, up to 10th overall, but importantly top of the C3s. Arthur Desai in 11th place, good drive from Desai as well. Luke Dunnett 12th, Kim Ely in 13th, Craig's Charlison's not Craig's son, hello Craig if you're watching. Simon Sharp, Keith Segal and Matthew Cochran. That was the field for Heat 3. We're going to take a short break. The last race of the first rotation heading out now is Heat number 4. Here we go then for heat number 4 at Whilton Mill today. Steve Hicks, you just saw him nearly spin coming out of the pit lane there, is on pole position. Chris Woodger alongside him on the front row, Ben Lambeth and Aidan Rudge on row 2. Raunas Sakauskas and Rogerio Mendez, a youthful row 3 there for this one. Row 4 has James Wattis and Darren Daz-Teal on it. Cameron Williams and Archie Hobson, another Warwick ABkC driver of years past there on row 5. Jack O'Neill has work to do from row 6 alongside Ashley White. Moving into our novices towards the rear of the field, Ross O'Brien and Andrew Bushlove on row 7. Amy Breacher and Jagjit Singh on row 8. Tim Clark on 17th in the grid is the last runner in this field. And we've got Finn Farrow as well, though I'm now trying to remember because I think Finn may not be here today. Yeah, I know JB was mentioning there's a couple of drivers who've been late withdrawals from the event. We'll know soon enough.
Jack O'Neill then out in this one, our championship leader coming into today, and won the race here in Endurances yesterday as well, so already with success this weekend. Indeed, apologies. Was he out in Sprint 60 as well?
He was out in Sprint 60. I got a nice shot of him yesterday at the front of the grid. So this is kind of a not too much pressure on this race. This is his starting from the back race, albeit ahead of all the novices as we've discussed. But this is if you see Jack O'Neill 4th, 3rd, 2nd, maybe even 1st in this one, that is a very, very good start to the day. Not just because he's getting some good points, but because he's turned, you know, the race that you wouldn't think would be the one that you get the good points from into that, and it takes the pressure off for later in the day.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, just to give that situation in the championship, it is Jack O'Neill who leads that coming into today. Ed Bars, who we saw earlier on, is 2nd in your championship. Dan Healy is 3rd. Then it's Daz-Teal and Mike Coppin to round out your top 5. Then in 6th place in the championship is our Class 2 leader, that being Peter Knight. He's in 6th overall. Steve Hicks, your pole sitter in this race, is 7th in the championship. Josh Adams, who we were talking about earlier on, 8th. Fraser Brunton taking that first heat win of the day. He's 9th in the championship, and then Rihanna Percox, who was also in that heat, rounds at the top 10 currently in the championship. In Class 3, it is Sam Essery, who is your highest placed C3 driver coming into today. So racing him out today as well. But just to be clear, the points in terms of rounds which at the moment would be counted if the season ended here, there's only 6 points separating our top two in this one of Jack O'Neill and Ed Bars. To be clear, there are 11 rounds, but not all of them get used to calculate your championship score at the end. The best 8 of 11 are taken, unless I'm about to be massively corrected. It's 3 dropped ones for this season. Yeah, it was double check that, but it's so at the moment it's 946 points for Jack O'Neill and 940 points for Ed Bars. But interestingly, if all rounds did count, it would be Ed Bars in the lead. But that's largely down to the fact that we didn't see Jack O'Neill at the previous round.
A couple of public service announcements. If you're enjoying the coverage and you want to get your comments in, do make sure you've subscribed. You've clicked the subscribe button on YouTube. It's the Off-Live YouTube channel, because comments is in subscribers only mode. So there we go. Also, Steve Hicks, we should say congratulations, because recently, or since we last saw him on one of these streams, he's got engaged.
Yes, indeed.
To Laura. So I'm pretty sure Laura's watching as well. So congratulations to you both from us here at Double Dash Motorsport Media and Alpha Live. That'll be a good party when we get round to it. Right, coming around the final corner then. This is heat number 4. Last of the first rotation. Steve Hicks on the right of your screen. Chris Rudger on the left. Eyes on the lights. The red were green were racing at Whilton Mill. Good start from the pole side again. Ben Lambeth up into P2 straight away. James Wattis with a great start as well, coming through the middle of the pack. Up to Christmas corner for the first time. It's Hicks leading from Ben Lambeth, and then everybody else trying to survive through Christmas corner. Jack O'Neill's on the grass there, and he's going to lose out time there. That is not the start that the championship leader would have wanted. Had he still kept going just about, but that's a little bit scrappy in the second half of the field. Yeah,
you can say that again. Well, there's several stories going on in that run up the hill. Somehow Ramanas Sakauskas was almost off onto the grass to the driver's left at turn 2, but had the inside at Christmas corner. He had a journey up the hill and through all that. But somehow everyone's still facing the right way over the top of the hill, but that was not the start that the championship leader wanted. It is Steve Hicks, though, who has held on to the lead coming around to the end of lap 1, and as you said, Andrew, a good start for Ben Lambeth. Seemed like a good side from the pole side of the grid, didn't it?
Daz Teal there on your screen, just picked up the behind Ramanas Sakauskas. Sakauskas checking through, wanting to work with Daz Teal. Daz Teal is not compliant with that. He wants to get up the order and goes for a move there, gets through into 6th.
I believe that will throw Sakauskas immediately into the close attention of Archie Hobson in number 33. He was close behind them. This, though, your lead battle, just sweeping through into Osiers. Sorry, mate, was that Jack O'Neill's by on Ashley
Jack
White?
O'Neill through past Ashley White, and Amy Breacham having a good race so far, has had C3 success in previous trips here to Whilton Mill. So we'll be expecting more of that as the day goes on. 5 minutes and 48 seconds to go. Penalty for Jack O'Neill, so that progress that he was making is undone now with a bump and pass penalty that'll be +4 positions on top of wherever he finishes this race.
Yeah, Costly won this one then for Jack O'Neill. He's down there in 13th place, as there's Ramanas Sakauskas being passed by the 66 of Jagjit Singh into Christmas corner. Singh being your highest placed Class 3 runner at the moment in this one. Good racing for Jagjit there, but yeah, this is not the start to the day that Jack O'Neill wanted at the moment.
And it's just one of those things around this circuit in particular. We've seen this sometimes happen at ABkC finales. You get to this point of the season, and all it takes is a little crack in the door to be opened, and your title rivals can be in and close things up very, very quickly with how these points formats work. Chris Woodger here, having a good go. closing in on Ben Lambeth, and yes, indeed, fastest lap of the race so far, 54.186. There is the 99 of Jack O'Neill, up to 11th place on the road. That's pre-penalties. Those are going to have a good run on Ross O'Brien here in the number 23. Imagine go for a move into Christmas corner. Maybe not, because it's a bit bunched up ahead of him.
Did I see Daz Till making a move on Aidan Rudge further on up the road as well, potentially? We'll double check that one.
Yes, he did. He is through, so Daz Till, another experienced driver.
Apologies, that might have been an ongoing battle with James Wattis,
okay.
as Jack O'Neill there is putting a move on O'Brien, as you say, Andrew, trying to work his way up and negate this penalty. But here is the lead battle. You were mentioning how Chris Woodger is catching up to Ben Lambeth. He is, but Lambeth is also caught up to Steve Hicks, so this could be an interesting battle here. We've still got quite a way to go in this one, though, Andrew, so one wonders, does Lambeth try and strike whilst the iron's hot, or slot into a rhythm here? I think he is going to do so, try and work together to stay on ahead, but Woodger's already got the draft at them as further back. This is now Jack O'Neill on the tail of Jagjit Singh.
Roger Hobson just ahead of them. He likes his hobnobs, as you can tell from the rear of his lid. He's holding some good speed at the moment at the front of that train. Here are your leaders, 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock remaining. Still Steve Hicks, who we should say as well has had a lot of success here at Whilton Mill over the years.
I was just trying to think of all the successes we've seen him have here. I mean, the one that stands out for me, mate, is a certain super final victory that he had here. That was the inaugural
Super final? The very first one that we had in Club 100 ranks. Chris Woodger, new fastest lap of the race, 53.979.
To go defensive. No. That's good. That's good communication from Ben Lambeth there to get that message across. Because you could feel how Hicks was instinctively going defensive there, and then now knows, no, it's fine. For now, we make a little bit of a ceasefire for the time being. Chris Woodger, though, still coming up onto the back when the dam does burst with regards to this battle. It would be amongst the three of them, wouldn't it?
It's been a tough race for Ashley White, the C1 driver, currently down in 12th place, and now he's got a cone penalty for his troubles as well. This will be one that will be a drop score, you'd hope, towards the end of the season. 90 seconds to go, 2 laps then for Steve Hicks, Ben Lambeth and Chris Woodger to sort themselves out. Aidan Rudge now the fastest driver in the field. He's set to 53.971.
And Daz Till as well has got into the no man's land between Rudge and Wattis, and he was ducking his head there. You can see the battle that's beginning to brew ahead. Meanwhile, there's a battle going on right here. This is in amongst our Class 3 ranks. That's Tim Clark battling away with Andrew Bushell and Ramanas Sikauskas, wasn't it, through the top of the hill.
Yeah, really good move that from Tim Clark. I think he saw the opportunity with the 2 drivers ahead, busy amongst themselves, and thought, well, there's a lane here up the inside, I'm going to use it and take 2 positions for the price of 1. Round the final corner then. This should be the final lap board going out. Yep, here indeed, there it is. Steve Hicks, big lap that, has actually pulled out a bit of a gap over Ben Lambeth. And if you can carry that speed. In fact, Lambeth's wide, and has had a bit of a moment there. He's going to lose a lot of time. Woodger up to second. And I could say from personal experience, that will have caught his attention, because that is one of the points where, in fact, he's done very, very well to save that and gather it up, because someone had a moment a little bit further left yesterday and ended up in the tyre wall as a result.
Yes. But he has gathered it up, but he's immediately under pressure from Aidan Rudge. And this, if you're wondering, what is Aidan Rudge pushing for and setting the fastest lap? This is the kind of opportunity that can present itself. I don't think there's going to be anything in it for Ben Lambeth on Steve Hicks. I think Hicks did enough on that penultimate lap. There's a battle here for third, but I think that's going to stay as is. So it is going to be Steve Hicks who takes the win for Heat 4. Chris Woodger in second. Ben Lambeth gathers it up to finish third. Aidan Rudge in fourth. Daz Till battled his way up to fifth there. James Wattis, good points in sixth. Jack O'Neill in the end up to seventh, has that 4 places to be deducted from that. Jagjit Singh, great race for him in eighth. Top Class 3 runner. Archie Hobson in ninth, and 10th for Ashley White rounds out your top 10 from that 4th heat.
We're going to get on with things now. No more practice laps. Next up out on circuit, it's heat number 5.
Heat 5 then, this is second appearance for all of these drivers. Andrew Rabbage has pole position. Dante Dillon is alongside him on the front row. Stephen Westwood and Chris Powell on row 2. Reese Pope and Charlie Summers, I read that the wrong way round, but they're both on row number 3. Dan Healy and Lloyd McGeoch-Williams start on row 4. Chris Lewis, Evans and Bailey Morgan row 5. Peter Knight and Ned Douglas are on row 6. Into the novices, Matthew Cliff and Samuel Essery are on row 7. Kim Ely and Justin Draper on row 8. Luke Dunnett and Peter Sharp make it an 18 kart field. Keep comments coming in, and if you haven't already, make sure you've pressed that subscribe button here on the Alpha Live YouTube channel. Every single Club 100 Sprints round between now and the end of the season is streamed for you. Looks like we are good to go then. Thumbs up from pace kart driver. I'm still going to call it pusher karting after all these years. And Andrew Rabbage in the red and black suit, left of your screen. Now, right of your screen will take us from pole position. Can the pole side of the grid get the good start, or will Dante Dillon hold it round the inside? Dante Dillon will do more than hold it round the outside. He'll take the lead. What a start for the Nottingham Trent University driver. Up to Christmas Corner they go. Big point to say let's crack on. Chris Powell has popped through into P2 already, and they're all getting through Christmas Corner pretty well. Someone is out on the grass. It's going to be Bailey Morgan. Is he going to be able to come back on circuit without causing a further incident? Yes, he can. That was well avoided by everybody, but round goes the number 22 there of Matthew Cliff. So that's one of our Class 3 novices out of the race already. It was a slightly tense moment for Bailey Morgan, sliding on the grass there, but did the right thing, kept it to the right, and controlled the speed and didn't cause an incident. Down the inside goes Christopher Powell. A bit of a robust move there past Dante Dillon. That's offered Reese Pope the opportunity to go round the outside. Gets at least second place for his troubles. Here comes Dan Healy as well in the number 2, fighting with Dante Dillon. So Dante Dillon, after that great start, it's all gone wrong for him, Howard, through the boots, and he's down to 4th.
He is, but he's not out of this yet. Under pressure from Lloyd McGeoch-Williams up the hill. Was a great start, wasn't it? He's one of the drivers that you and I have actually commentated on for the longest time, I think, is Dante Dillon. Surely one of them. Commentating across a load of championships, including Northampton Karting League and British University's Karting Championship, the lot. And of course, that ABkC Championship win as well. And that was a cracking start from Dante Dillon. Off the back of an already pretty competitive first heat. So it was an impressive start for him. Chris Powell under pressure now from Dan Healy.
Interesting group this. You've got someone very, very quick, not in the championship battle in Powell. Yes. Someone very, very quick, very much in the championship battle in Dan Healy. And the young pretender of Reese Pope has already had a strong result so far today, but Healy looking up the inside. Is he going to go for the lead? Yes, classic Christmas move there. Powell doesn't put up too much of a fight. Slots into second place.
Yeah, that was textbook. But one could imagine easily that Powell might be playing a slightly longer game in this one. Maybe he doesn't want to be at the head of the peloton right now to shoehorn a completely different race sport in here, as it's the 61 versus the 81 of Rabbage on Steve Westwood, indeed. And they were side by side through Osiers. Didn't catch quite how that one transpired down the back straight. In the background, we'll double check the timing, but they come round to finish lap number 3.
Samuel Essery, one of the top runners in C3 this year. You can see on the timing tower left of your screen, had a good start to 11th place.
Yep. Rabbage did get by on Westwood, so change of position there for 7th, and of course you change the lead confirmed on the timing tower now as they cross the start-finish line that time around. There's Bailey Morgan, got it onto the back of Sam Essery.
He has recovered from that incident on lap number 1.
See, we've done it as well, trying to get a move done on Charlie Summers as they came down into Ashby. So brilliant battles going on all the way down through the field here. But some very experienced drivers at the head of this one. As you say, Andrew, Reese Pope getting onto the back of these two. staying with them at the moment.
Dante Dillon looking over his shoulder, hoping for a bit of help from a very, very quick Peter Knight, who's just done a 53.7. That may be the quickest lap of the day so far. This is what we've seen from Peter Knight before at Whilton Mill. Has come through the Club 100 Young Drivers Championship. I'm sure we'll be hearing of as we go into 2022 where the new 2022 Club 100 Cadet Championship.
That's an interesting place to get alongside, though. He was on the outside of Dante Dillon through Wilkins, and was also on the outside of Osiers. And Dillon defended well there, but will be compromised in his ultimate speed down the back straight. So it'll be interesting to see if there's anything going for Peter Knight through this boot section that the leader's going through now. There's not. Just see in the back of your shot there that Dillon is still at the 4. And this isn't really what Dante Dillon wants, is it? He wants to work with Peter Knight rather than battle with him, because he can see the opportunity on up the road. What about this time? Does he feel he has to go defensive?
Yeah.
He doesn't, I think. Is he basically saying, all right, Peter, you go through and then I'll work with you.
To be fair, I think that's the better option, because now Dante, it's not the biggest slipstream circuit here at Whilton Mill. There was a move there. I think it was Samuel Essery on Chris Lewis Evans.
Yeah.
It's not the biggest slipstream circuit, but there is one to be had.
True.
Peter Knight, we know he's got very good pace, 53.7 his fastest lap. If Dante can just sit in Peter's slipstream now, that could pull him along and try and get him back into this battle of the top 3.
Yeah, it's not an effect we talk about too much in Club 100, because the effect isn't too massive. But you're right. This is particularly in that first sector of the lap here at Whilton Mill. It is an effect that does come to bear some effect on people's pace. As Chris Powell, for example, has just set the fastest lap of the race, 53.741, which is now beats that fastest lap that I think we've seen of the day. It's slightly warmer outside. It's not an overcast as it was at the start of the day. It's a lovely day for October for going karting in the UK. But Chris Powell just ramping up the pressure now, and it will be the time that he wants to ramp up the pressure, because having worked together and been patient throughout the whole race, if he's going to strike Andrew, it's going to be on this next tour of the circuit.
Yeah, but they've worked really nicely together. They've negated the pressure from Reese Pope behind. Just a minute to go on the clock. Last lap board is out for these drivers. Oh my goodness, Peter Knight's just put in a 53.431. Watch out for the pace of Peter Knight as the day goes on, because this is Peter coming from his towards the back grid slots. He's had his one from the back, he's had his one from the middle, and he's clearly got a lot of speed here today at Whilton Mill. Could be a big factor in the A final if he can get there.
Yeah, and as we were saying earlier, it was 2 years ago that he came to the 4 at this track when we were streaming here before. So this is a circuit he goes so well at. There is pressure being brought to bear on Dan Healy. I'm not sure if Powell's going to be close enough coming into the boot to make a move here, though, Andrew.
No, I think Dan Healy's got this one under control, and this is a good response after a difficult first heat earlier on this morning. Round the final corner, here comes Dan Healy. He always tends to run well on a stream day, and he's won Heat 5 there ahead of Chris Powell. Another good drive from Reese Pope. Peter Knight impressive in 4th. Dante Dillon, good points for the BIKC champion in 5th. Lloyd Williams in 6th. And there's been some changes on the last lap there. Stephen Westwood up to 7th, Samuel Essery top of the C3s in 8th, Chris Lewis Evans and Ned Douglas wrap out the top 10, Bailey Morgan, Justin Draper, Andrew Rabbage, Luke Dunn, Charlie Summers takes us down to 15th, Kim Ely, Peter Sharp and Matthew Cliff wrap out the runners. We're going to take a short break. Next up, it's heat number 6. Heat number 6. This is an interesting grid. Let's have a look at it. Callum Brewell has pole position alongside Warwick BUKC teammate of past years, Archie Hobson. Cross your fingers, everybody. Dan Seeger and Bryn Albin on row 2. Ben Lambeth and Tom Dix on row 3. Jonah Barker and Steve Hicks on row 4. Tom Kempink and Adam Wield on row 5. A lot of experience in this middle part of the grid. And here's some more. Daz Teal and Alistair Irvin on row 6. Into the novices, Michael Daltrey and Aaron Stillwell on row 7, Sam Morris and Simon Sharp row 8, James Dunnett there on row number 9.
So we've got an all Warwick university graduates front row.
Yes.
I also noted Alistair Irvin's thrown in for good measure as well.
I'm standing back for this
with
one.
regards to that particular stable of drivers. So here we go. Sorry.
I joke, of course. I'm sure it's
Of
going to be a
course,
very,
it's going to
very
be
clean
lovely. It's going to
race.
be great. Callum Brule leads them away then into oblivion. It's another good start from the pole side of the grid because Dan Seeger is making hay whilst the sun is shining here. Tries to go all the way around the outside of 2, and he almost does it, but he's going to slot in behind Callum Brule as they head up the hill, going 4 wide, even 5 wide behind, side by side through Christmas Corner.
Not the best of starts for Daz Teal. He's been shuffled back a little bit there, was caught out wide. Steve Hickson, Alistair Irvin in the middle of that, but it's a good start for Mr. Thumbnail. Callum Brule leads.
It's an even better start, I think, mate, for Ben Lambeth there in the 53, who I think has slotted into 2nd place. He had a great run up the hill, and it was a good start from the pole side of the grid. Who was that going round towards the back? Was that Simon Sharp? No, it wasn't.
James done it.
James done it.
Oh, there's another driver off there. Can't quite make out the helmet colours and the number plate, but we'll catch it in due course. It's the 100 of Michael Daltrey. Thank you guys on the cameras for picking that one up. And as we come through, this is a... Well, I was about to say this is a C1 heavy field. I think it's because there's quite a few big runners in C2 in it. It feels like it's a big C1 field. As someone's off towards the back, I think it might be... is that Sam Morris who's gone round? Or is it Michael Daltrey? Yeah, it's Michael Daltrey having more problems. But
I think it was Morris who was going over from paddock.
yeah, Daltrey hasn't come over the line yet. So, yeah, Sam Morris in a bit of bother. There's number 63 of Jonah Barker.
We've not sped up the formation lap through that one, folks, honest. That is a genuine battle going on at the moment, which is at the moment it's Adam Wheeldon who's got to the head of that in the 79.
So there's Callum Brule leading in the number 27 in the yellow helmet. Ben Lambeth, another good start for him, P2. Big race this for Dan Seeger in the context of his day. He's already had a strong result racing from the back of the field in his first heat. Can he take this opportunity starting towards the front and get some more good points? Daz Teal, well, was having a difficult time on lap 1, but is up to 5th place, Howard. He's had a very, very good second lap.
Indeed, look at this, Tom Dix versus Steve Hicks going on up the hill as well. And Hicks has got the job done with squirreling around on the brakes there. But that is Hicks by on Tom Dix, the 21 now ahead of the 92 and up into 6th place as the leader now coming under severe pressure from Ben Lambeth, who in his 2nd race of the day, Andrew, is standing out to me here. Drove very strongly in his first heat earlier on. And right now is applying the pressure to a very experienced Callum Brule.
Yeah, another lightweight really coming to the fore here once again on a streamed round. There's a bit of communication between the drivers to say let's keep working together, but it is very much forming up into a bit of a trolley train behind, and in fact the trolley train is braking now as Ben Lambeth goes down the inside of Callum Brule. I think I'd call that a fair one to me. Ben had a good run alongside, but here comes Dan Seeger. Oh, I have flashbacks to a BUKC finale a couple of years ago there.
Look at
and look at this, Ken Pink and Teal coming through, and Steve Hicks and Tom Dix. Everybody's involved in the party here. Dan Seeger's going to get forced out wide and lose 1, 2, 3, 4 positions. This is almost like a final at the moment, the way they're racing out there.
If Ben Lambeth had a rear view mirror, he'd be smiling at what he saw in it, because this is exactly what he wants to see. Look at this, 3 wide almost coming into Wilkins Corner. Daz Teal has somehow navigated himself up into 2nd place there, managed to be on the inside at Christmas Corner, and it paid dividends, was able to hang it around the outside of Boxing Day. Alistair Irvin battling away with Tom Kempink there, but at the moment, your top 3, it'll all change on your timing tower in a second, folks, because it's Ben Lambeth ahead of Daz Teal, and I think Steve Hicks, sorry, now in 3rd place.
Yeah, great move there from Alistair Irvin round the outside of the highlighter crew, as we like to call them, from the Warwick stable. One of them's missing, which is Ben Simpson. He's the green helmeted one, but the pink highlighter around the yellow highlighter there. And that'll be talked about in the paddock. Here we go again into Christmas Corner. Jonah Barker fighting alongside there. In fact, he's going to be on the grass there. Now there's going to be a load of grass on Inkermans. Now people are going to have to pay attention to that. There was a bit of an event yesterday, shall we say, when a similar occurrence happened. But now everybody looks okay through Inkermans. This has been a very topsy-turvy race so far. There is Adam Wheeldon. Good support for him in the chat, now ahead of Dan Seeger. How much time have we got left? 2.5 minutes to go. 1.7 seconds is the lead for Ben Lambeth over Daz Teal. Make that 1.5. Hicks in third. Alistair Irvin sets the new fastest lap of the race at 53.8, is up to fourth.
It's not a bit fancy this one, right? I feel like we've basically just run 5 instances of a first lap. But
Yes.
as they come up the hill once again, Jenna Barker trying to recover, so it's such a costly moment for him in a train like that to have an on-the-grass moment. To keep together is just about as good as things. This is Daz Teal versus Steve Hicks in the battle for second place. 1.5 seconds that Ben Lambeth has in hand at the moment.
And you can imagine that these two drivers know each other well, will try and work together to catch Ben Lambeth.
This would definitely be Ben's first heat win of the season. If he can convert this one, mate.
Yeah, we saw him out for the first time this season at Bayford Meadows, had some good results that day. So another new driver to this lightweight championship. My goodness, Hicksy nearly did the exact same thing I did yesterday. He didn't, because he's a better driver than me and survives that one, but that just skirted the edge of that grass again. He's clearly pushing very, very hard.
Cone penalty for Simon Sharp can be costly in his Class 3 running, mate, which he won't take. He is your highest placed Class 3 runner on the road, but unfortunately with that penalty, he will, as things currently stand, not retain that.
Tom Kemping doing a great job. I say it's hard to put into words how difficult it is to come into this championship, you know, when you haven't been in it for a while. The style of racing. If you're quick in a kart, you're quick in a kart. Tom definitely is, but having that reading of the situation to get good results and not get spat out the back in the rough and tumble of it all, Tom's clearly got it down quite well here.
Yeah, absolutely. On to the final lap then. Ben Lambeth has 1.2 seconds in hand. Daz Teal, Steve Hicks and Alistair Irvin has just set the fastest lap of the race to get onto the back of them. Here is the 79 of Adam Wilden versus Dan Seeger. That's for 6th place as they come over the top of the hill. Are there any moves left here? Steve Hicks is closing in on Daz Teal. He's closer potentially. Back for 6th place, going into Wilkins' corner. Still Wilden at the front of that one. You'll just see further up the road, it is still Teal ahead of Hicks. Ben Lambeth, though, is already in the boot ahead of these two. There's a bump on the bit of a love tap there on the rear of Daz Teal's kart, but it is going to be the 53 of Ben Lambeth, who comes round to take an impressive first victory of the season. Daz Teal takes 2nd place and is the highest placed Class 1 runner. Steve Hicks in 3rd, Alistair Irvin in 4th, and then it's Tom Kempick in 5th, 6th for Dan Seeger, Adam Wilden in 7th, 8th for Tom Dix, Bryn Olban in 9th, and Archie Hobson rounds out your top 10. I'm not sure if the former Warwick drivers will thank me, but I think they've inverted the order they started in perfectly.
They have indeed. Yeah, that's not the way that they would have planned for that to go. Michael Daltrey with the last kart over the line. That's heat 6 done halfway through our heat schedule for the lightweight. So let's crack on there with heat number 7. Looking forward to Heat 7. Here is the grid for this race. Jack O'Neill has pole position for it. Jed Toole alongside him on the front row. Oscar Lancaster and Cameron Williams on row 2. Sam Slater and Josh Adams on row 3. Chris Woodger and Hussein Rashid start on the 4th row of the grid. James Martin and James Wattis wrap out the top 10. Rihanna Percox and Mike Coppin will be looking to move through from row 6. Althavra Desai and Dean Everest are on row 7. Rizwan Mangat and Ross O'Brien are on row 8. James Browning and Andrew Berry make it an 18 kart field. Another interesting grid, this one, Howard. You've got championship leader Jack O'Neill on the front row. Josh Adams, as we said, has been very quick so far today. There on row 3. Percox and Coppin. This is their starting from the back of the C1, C2 grid. Lots to talk about ahead of this race.
Yeah, agreed. This is going to be an interesting one. This needs to be a good one, doesn't it, for Jack O'Neill to get his day back on track in many ways. Here we go then. He's on your right as you look at it, and that doesn't look like it is. Sorry, Jed Toole alongside, apologies, and they go into oblivion and through turn 2 for the first time. Looks like a good start from Oscar Lancaster as well. Chris Woodger is out on the curbing there for turn 2. but he's going to slot back in as they head through Christmas Corner. Looks like Sam Slater is looking to make early moves then, has got a bit to third place. So a good start from him. There's driver dipping their wheels onto the grass, but has managed to recover before Inkerman's. No, there is the 23 of Ross O'Brien, who unfortunately is facing the wrong way. The start is otherwise called good. And Jack O'Neill has had the start that he needed. Oscar Lancaster, though, great start from him to get up into second. There's Mike Coppin down the inside of James Wattis, who had also had a good start, though, even though he's just lost a position. That means he's moved on up the order on this first lap, although he has got it courtesy of a contact warning there, as has Dean Everest. As they come around to finish lap 1, it is Jack O'Neill who leads ahead of Oscar Lancaster, Sam Slater in third, Josh Adams and Mike Coppin up 6 positions on that first lap to 5th place.
Yeah, very big lap there from Jack O'Neill, because this is already, as Josh Adams is looking down the inside of Sam Slater, that's over 3rd place.
What Jack wants to do here is get this heat into a scenario where second and backwards think, well, the second's as good as it's going to get. In second place, and then just romp off into the distance. 0.7 of a second on lap 1 is a pretty good way of doing it. Mike Coppin looking very racy in this 7th heat of the day. That was a very good start. I think it was our biggest mover, up 6 positions on lap number 1. Can he find a way past Josh Adams? Can Josh Adams find a way past Sam Slater? In fact, Coppin's going to look down the inside into the last corner, and that was wisely done by both drivers there. Well read by Josh Adams there. Could see Coppin coming through, didn't fight it, lives to fight for another day.
Yeah, really good spot. I think there's a compliment there from Coppin to say, yeah, appreciate that. That was good courtesy shown. There is the 103 of James Watson. So here is Hussein Rashid versus Jed Toole for 9th place. That is Rashid done. Albeit not the least is Rihanna Percox. I think dipped some tyres on the grass there coming out of Inkerman's, but managed to hold it together.
Coppin past Sam Slater now is making efficient work through the traffic here. And, Josh Adams will be looking at that and thinking that's potentially a way past Sam Slater if he's a little bit weak coming off of Inkerman's.
Not a great start to the race for James Martin, Andrew. Class 1 runner down in 14th place, dropped some 4 positions on the first lap, and at the moment isn't able to recover through the Class 3 traffic.
Yeah, and he's behind some C3s who've already had good results today. Zai and Everest. He's got past Everest. But yeah, I can hear what you're saying there, Howard. It's already looking for James Martin. This is going to be a tough order to get into that A final. They have to rely on John PP.
Oscar Lancaster, I think, doing a good job here keeping Jack O'Neill on.
Yes.
We were talking about how he needs to, O'Neill will want to set the pace that means everyone gives up. But at the moment, Lancaster is denying him that possibility. This is Chris Mudgett and Rihanna Percox, who have had the feeling the last 4 laps have been working together to try and get themselves up and onto the back of greater riches up the road, which come in the form of these 3 drivers here, of Coppin, Slater and Adams.
Just having a little nibble there of the monster curve. We saw the back end of the kart get quite unsettled. Here's Rihanna Percox and Chris Woodger. Rihanna looking for that tighter line and a slipstream up to Christmas Corner. May have a shot here if she's brave on the brakes, and of course she's brave on the brakes. Another great move from Rihanna Percox. That's 6th place.
Yeah, great move there. I'll be honest with you, I thought she was a bit too far back at the start of that straight. That's why she's running up in 6th place in Class 1 of the lightweights, and I'm not.
Hussein Rashid, I think that's the 2nd code penalty for Hussein, so that's 2 positions at the end of this race. James Martin still tucked behind off Everett Desai. But at least both of those drivers will be beneficiaries of the penalties for number 10 now. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Jack O'Neill leads. This one still isn't done here. Oscar Lancaster 0.8 of a second behind. Mike Coppin, though, fastest driver on circuit now, 53.830, but did run a little bit wide out of turn 2. And it's I say, it's dry conditions out there, but it's this period of the year with Whilton Mill where if you just get a little bit of oversteer as you come through turn 2, it can catch you out very, very easily. Almost akin to what a certain Super GT had in the senior X30 earlier in the year that a lot of folks will have seen
on social media. That similar sort of just get a little bit wide, the back end goes, and you've got to be very, very aware of what's going on to be able to pull it back in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Oscar Lancaster under one, but Mike Coppin gets the job done quicker than I could even set the scene for you by on Oscar Lancaster and up into second place. And that was between the third apex of the boot and paddock corner.
Sam Slater's come alive, 53.7 for him, also a 53.7 for Rihanna Percox. Two fastest drivers out there on circuit, the 150. Rizwan Mangat has got a contact warning. That's not a penalty. That will be his last warning for driver scenes from race control. 1 minute to go on the clock. And this is a big couple of corners, I feel, for this group of three drivers. If they can work together, they could try and pull Jack O'Neill and give him a bit of a hard time on the last lap.
Yeah, just one other story to watch on that last lap. Rihanna Percox just set the fastest lap of the race. She got by on Chris Woodger a few laps ago. She's now looking to challenge Josh Adams. You can just see it in the back of your shot out there. But going on to the last lap, Jack O'Neill has an advantage of 0.6 of a second. Mike Coppin pushing hard though here, Andrew.
Very, very hard indeed. Rihanna Percox goes quicker again, 53.3. I think that's a new fastest lap of the race. Here she is trying to get past Josh Adams. Josh Adams defends well into Christmas Corner, but maybe a little bit vulnerable now on the run down to Ashby. Has Rihanna got the lane? Josh Adams closes the door. Great fight this over 5th place. James Wattish still there in 8th place. Rihanna Percox to the outside now. He's going to be hung out to dry field. Oh, and into the tyres. Into the tyres there goes Rihanna Percox. Jack O'Neill still leads, but look at this. You get the feeling that one more lap was needed for Mike Coppin to get through, but this is a very good result nonetheless. Jack O'Neill is just going to hold on for victory here in heat number 7. Mike Coppin, a big move over the line. Oh, he's lost it by 0.069 of a second. It's still good points, though. That is the way to do you from the back race. 2nd place for Mike. 3rd for Oscar Lancaster's top C2, Sam Slater 4th, 2nd of the C2s. Josh Adams holds on for 5th ahead of Rihanna Percox. Chris Woodger, James Wattis, Hussein Rashid, and Cameron Williams takes us down to 10th. Althavra Desai top of the C3s ahead of James Martin, Dean Everest, Ross O'Brien, James Browning, Andrew Berry, Jed Toole and Rizwan Mangat.
The neutral race fan in me wanted that to go on another lap or so, but we need to look now ahead to heat number 8.
Heat number 8, here is your grid. Jason Bradbury will take us from pole position in this one. Dan Cohen alongside on row 1. Ashley White and Keith Segal row 2. Ed Bars and Aidan Rudge on row 3. Greg Smith and Fraser Brunton will start this race from row number 4. Rogerio Mendez and Matthew Cockram on row 5. Garrett Berry and Ramanas Sakauskas on row 6. Jagjit Singh and Tim Clark on row 7. Russell Cooper and Jake Wilkins on row 8. Jack Booth and Amy Breacher on row number 9. And then Andrew Bushell completing the 19 runners in this, the last heat of the 2nd rotation. Keep your comments coming in on the YouTube stream. Make sure you've clicked that subscribe button as well. As for these Club 100 rounds, plenty of other content on the Alpha Live network as we're in the bathes of the autumn sunshine, not just here, but at various places across the UK motorsport world today.
Good opportunity this for Jason Bradbury.
Yep.
We've been calling him the final. We'll be looking to optimise this pole start. Not this time around though, because we're going round again. Drivers got a kart change going on in the pits. Distinctive multicoloured helmet and the 34 of Daniel Cohen alongside this. I know we had a bit of a frantic start on our end of things, mate, but how are we at the end of the 2nd rotation of these? We had lightweight heats already that can come in very quickly, turn around, very impressive today between the races, the drivers and the Club 100 crew.
Yeah, very efficient running the event as always. JV in the team. And 2 more of these rounds to go after today. It'll be at Lyd, the second trip to Lyd of the year. In a few weeks' time, we'll be finishing the season at Bayford Meadows in November. Both of those sprint stays you'll be able to watch here on Alpha Live with commentary from Double Dash Motorsport Media.
I do love the fact that we are going to be able to bring the conclusion of this championship,
Yes.
mate, because that's this one's going to be fantastic to the end. I've just got that feeling. Right now, though, heat number 8 is ready to get underway for round 9 of our lightweights. It's Jason Bradbury on pole in that 17 car, the 34 of Dan Cohen alongside. Away we go. It's another good start from third on the grid, not for the first time. Ashley White slots into second place as they go through Oblivion and the crook. Greg Smith is out quite far onto the curve, but is going to swoop back across as they head on up the hill. Jason Bradbury, though, with a good start. And it's Ed Bars versus Daniel Cohen into the braking zone for Christmas Corner. And to the head of the field there is Ashley White, trying to make up for what was perhaps a bit of a lacklustre first heat earlier on. But Ashley White right now hard on the brakes into Ashby Corner. Everyone pointing the right way, it looks to me, through that first sector. Oh, big moment there for Keith Segal, I think, in the middle of the field there. Had to swoop across the middle of the track and then causing a bit of a hold-up there in the middle of the pack. The number 60 of Garrett Berry having to take almost to the runoff there in avoidance, but manages to slot back in. And unfortunately, we do have a driver who's become stationary. That looked like the outside of Wilkins to me. In all of that, it allowed Jason Bradbury to get back ahead of Ashley White, who briefly led the race, but it is your pole sitter, Bradbury, who's in the lead ahead of Ashley White, and Ed Bars up for third.
I think the karting question on Wilkins there was actually beached up in the air on the curve, hence why the rear wheels were spinning furiously. It was either that or the wrong address, which is not the way to get back onto circuit when the breach there. It's already making the way through the order. Russell Cooper in number 26. Cone penalty for the number 60. I thought that was coming because some tyres did get launched into space.
I think it was
on that one there.
Apologies, I think it might have been Tim Clark. Definitely Jack with Tim Clark and Garrett Berry have had an eventful first lap. Garrett Berry yet to be registered on timing. We're here though with the battle over second place indeed.
Yep.
Although maybe it's a bit early to not call it the battle for the lead. Still, the question is being asked of Jason Bradbury as to whether he has the pace to pull away on the main pack here. The cars follow Ashley White up the hill towards Christmas Corner. Greg Smith has attentions from Daniel Cohen in that 34 car at the same time, and the first of those moves was converted to a pass in the form of Ed Bars going by on Ashley White, but Daniel Cohen was not able to convert that one, and indeed had a hairy moment there on the grass. Coming out of boxing day, and has lost quite a bit of that. I think he's gone down to 8th place there, now behind Keith Segal.
Yeah, Rogerio Mendez looking for a move in the 101. I do feel that move that Ed Bars made was really, really crucial in the context of this race, to take control of this second place battle and not get held up and into a bit of a group battle with those behind particularly. So you've got the likes of Fraser Brunton and Aidan Rudge going very quickly a few places further back. Cross start finish, there's your second place change confirmed. 1 second between first and second. Brunton up to 5th place now. And Jagjit Singh having another very good run here. There's the 58 of Keith Segal. Jagjit just behind in 66 currently, top of your C3 runs.
Absolutely. Smith close to the back of Ashley White here for 3rd place. Followed the rise of the 100 ranks for the last couple of seasons. Fastest lap of the race, you haven't mentioned it, mate, apologies. Jason Bradbury trying to extend that lead, but as you say, Ed Bars' pass up into second feels crucial for the story of this race, because he's going to want to try and capitalise on that. That is the 71 of Fraser Brunton, winner in heat number 1, under pressure from Daniel Cohen, as we've got one of our drivers. It is Bushell, yeah. Stationary in the middle sector. Look at this, side by side up the hill, and is that anything worth getting involved with that? I know Fraser Brunton was involved. How did that all shake out at the top of the hill?
Brunton was out wide there, so there's not a lot of grip for the drivers. And crucially,
There
though,
was Rudge, I think he's got by all of them as a result, because I think he just swooped at the inside.
I saw them both tracking wide in that turn 2 and was able to slot in down the inside of them up the hill. A little kink on the straight between the Crook and Christmas that we don't often refer to as so much like the straight. It's called Fine Lady, and he was pretty much on the inside at that point, I think.
2 minutes and 30 or thereabouts to go. There's a Brunton there tucked up behind the rear bumper of Aidan Rudge for 5th place. Good last lap there from Jason Bradbury, 54.3. And whilst Bars was quicker, wasn't too dramatic, 54.2. And look at this battle going on with Rogerio Mendes at the front of it. Keith Segal in there, number 13 of Ramanas Sakauskas. Amy Breacher watching on at the back of this. An impatient game. There's gains to be had here should these drivers ahead get a little bit too and off there. And just as I say, that is Keith Segal. So there's one of them for Matthew Cockram in there in that group as well. So they all gain a position out of that. Here comes Greg Smith down the inside of Ashley White for 3rd place. Good move there from Greg Smith, but he's run a little bit wide. Can he get back on circuit? Loses a position, loses another. As Aidan Rudge hops through, and here comes Fraser Brunton as well. He's absolutely furious with himself. Is Greg Smith there? It's a good attempt, but the result is he's lost 3 positions.
I think he just went all in the first couple of apexes, didn't he? And once you're out wide there on the 3rd apex, you don't have to hit the 3rd apex of the boot, but what you definitely know is you know when you're too wide through that part, because suddenly there's a bit of geo-blocking grass there to greet you. So that was a hairy moment for him there. He's done well to stay onto the back of them at least, so he can start to make amends as there's 1 minute left on the clock.
Ed Bars is turning up the pressure, 53.974. Last time around, the gap is down to less than 4/10, and that's a lot less than 4/10 now. He's got 1 more lap to do this, and you've got the feeling that with other drivers at the top of this table in the lightweights, he's got to get a win on the board here. He's going to have 1 more lap to do so, Howard. On to the last lap they go, through the first couple of corners. A good run out of the Crook is absolutely crucial here for Ed Barston, but he's not close enough. He's not close enough to go for a big lunge here. And Jason Bradbury holds on to the lead.
Yeah, absolutely good battle happening further back here between Rudge, White, Brunton and Greg Smith as well. And yeah, it was the fastest lap of the race again from Ed Bars on that last lap, but he hasn't been able to convert that into any opportunities in Christmas or Ashby. He's going to have to be on it through Wilkins if he's going to try downhill into Osiers. He will try, though, and down he goes, and that's the job done. That is a textbook move that he makes look easy into Osiers. Brilliant move from Ed Bars, and I don't think Bradbury's going to have a response into the boot.
No, and it was a good response in a way, though, from Bradbury to just concede that one. It's still going to be good points for him. Ed Bars, a big, crucial win here in heat number 18. Needed that one, and he's taken it. Jason Bradbury converts a good starting position into strong points. I don't think he's going to be Mr. B final today. I think he's going to be in the A there in 2nd place. Aidan Rudge, a very impressive drive there. Top of the C2s in 3rd. Ashley White, 4th. Fraser Brunton, 5th. Greg Smith not happy with himself across the line there, but that's still good points again in 6th. Dan Cohen in 7th. Jagjit Singh, a fantastic drive up to 8th in the C3s. Rogerio Mendes and Matthew Cochran was your top 10. Ramanas Sakauskas 11th. Amy Breacher 2nd of the C2s there in 12th, ahead of Jake Wilkins, Russell Cooper, Keith Segal, Andrew Bushell, Tim Clark, Jack Booth and Garrett Berry's retirement. That's the end of rotation number 2. We're going to take another short break here in the comms box. Heat 9 is out next.
Into our 3rd rotation of heats then for round 9 of our lightweights. Here is your grid for heat number 9. Rihanna Percox will start this one from pole with Bailey Morgan alongside. Nate Douglas and Chris Lewis-Evans are row number 2. Stephen Westwood and Bryn Alban make up row 3. Then it's going to be Archie Hobson and Callum Brule. And the Warwick row returns there on row number 4 with Tom Dix and Jonah Barker to round out your top 10. Hussein Rashid and Ben Lambeth are on row 6. It's going to be interesting to see how Lambeth gets on. Been having a good, strong couple of heats so far today. James Dunnett and Sam Essery make up row 7. Then it's Atala Desai and Rizwan Mangat on 8. And Ross O'Brien rounding out your 17 karts in heat number 9.
keep comments coming in on the live stream. Good opportunity this for Percox and Morgan to consolidate the results that they've had so far. Looks like we are under starters orders then. This is the last chance for all of these drivers to get points through the heats. The last one that they will take part in ahead of the finals. Away we go then here at Whilton Mill for heat number 9. Pretty even start for those on the front row of the grid. Bailey Morgan holds in second place there and will run up to Christmas corner, tucked up behind Rihanna Percox. In fact, more than tucked up behind. Bailey Morgan going for the lead here.
And there's contact, and it's going to put Percox sideways, and that causes everybody to bulk up behind. It's still somehow Bailey Morgan out of all of that, as we've got a cart round at the back. And who was that going across? Was it Tom Dix going across?
It may have been. The 24 of James Dunnett was the spinner. But yeah, that was all triggered from the very front of the field. Contact between Morgan and Percox, and everybody bunched up behind. I think, though, that there was one of the beneficiaries of that was Callum Brule. Yes, Callum Brule up to 5th place then through all of that. And Bailey Morgan leads on the road here ahead of Rihanna Percox. They've actually broken away a little bit from the rest of the field.
Yeah, it's an unorthodox way to break to the lead 2 carts away, but it's kind of worked. I suppose the only question mark that would hang over that, Andrew, would be, was that a bump and pass overtake? Yes, okay,
yes,
there we go. I thought I'd give benefit of the doubt, but yeah, that did look fairly bump and passy. I think it was fairly open shut. There's a look at this, Ned Douglas versus Tom Dix. I think it was actually Jonah Barker who might have gone across the gas. So apologies for calling that one. Yeah, Tom Dix getting by, and Ben Lambeth getting stuck in as well. Slightly further up the field, this is now Callum Brule on the back of Bryn Alban there, and goes down the inside of him into Oziers. So that is Brule up to 4th place. Meanwhile, for the lead of the race, though, Rihanna Percox to the inside of Bailey Morgan. Bailey Morgan will try and get the switch back out of the second apex, but he can't tuck underneath. And so that is going to be Rihanna Percox to the lead of the race, not just once penalties are applied, but on the road. And speaking of penalties, Ben Lambeth picks up a costly 4th place penalty also for advantage by contact, bump and pass.
Warwick ABkC pain continues, unfortunately for Archie Hobson. I think Archie was shuffled down on that first lap. He's trying to fight back now, but he's currently languishing in 13th place. See with the red cross on his helmet there.
Yeah, Ned Douglas has picked up he's hit your mate Colin McCone out there, mate, so he's going to have a penalty come the end of this race, currently running in 8th place. Stays with Rihanna Percox on this one.
Yeah, well, that's an illegal activity, so that will be a penalty and a place deduction at the end of the race. We're in the midpoint of this one, though. Bailey Morgan just checking over the shoulder there to see where Chris Lewis-Evans is. He's having a great run. In fact, Callum Brule is now up to 3rd place. Now, can this group of 3 work together to close in on Percox and Morgan? TLW for Ben Lambert. It's not quite going his way, but he has got good scores from earlier on in the morning. Good move there from Bryn Alban. Switch back, beautifully done. And that's 4th place. Here comes Stephen Westwood as well. And I've got to say, that's a good move as well. Not many moves get done on the run between Christmas and Inkerman. So many times you see a driver forced out wide, but Stephen Westwood, brave there, got through nicely, got through cleanly, and is up to 5th.
We are at effectively the Midlands round of the championship. Feels right we should get some Mansell-esque moves in. And that was a very good one there from Bryn Alban. And as I say, good opportunity there from Westwood as well to get by Lewis Evans as well. On to lap number 5 then. New fastest lap of the race from Rihanna Percox at 54.030. But Bailey Morgan still keeping in touch here as Rihanna tries to break away. This is for 4th place though up the hill. Bryn Alban versus Stephen Westwood. Both got an overtaking last lap. As we also look back to Jonah Barker versus Ben Lambeth. Ben Lambeth now coming under pressure from Tom Dix, and Tom Dix is going to do a bit of a Westwood from the previous lap and get by as well. So this is definitely not going the way of Ben Lambeth. Remember, he has a penalty to be applied. Still Bryn Alban and Stephen Westwood are battering, and Westwood gets down through eventually on the good corner exit from Wilkins. And gives the indication to say, let's work together, but I'm not sure how much time Alban's going to have to think about that, because he's already under the pressure from a certain Chris Lewis-Evans, who he He got by a couple of laps to go, so I think the number 130 driver will be looking to rectify that situation, as there's a penalty for Stephen Westwood for a bump and pass. So one presumes that was for what just occurred with Bryn Olban, and that is 4 places for him to be docked at the end of this one. Quite a few penalties now in amongst this field.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Stephen. He was having a good run up to that point. A lot of the hard work was done with that penalty. There is Barker and Douglas going over 8th place. Less than 2 minutes on the clock.
Callum Brule, fastest lap of the race, dipped into the 53s. Ned Douglas side by side again here with Jonah Barker, Tom Dix and Ben Lambert looking for opportunities, and there is Tom Dix going down the inside of Ned Douglas. Ned Douglas, the slightest glance of the tyres there. I'm not sure if he'll get away with that one. We'll see. Bailey Morgan here go right on the tail of Rhiannon Percox. Has been applying the pressure really well throughout the race. Both of these drivers, though, make no mistake, have been doing really well. This would be Rhiannon Percox's 3rd heat win of the year if she can get that one done. Bear in mind, even if Bailey Morgan gets by on her here, he has got that penalty for bump and pass, which happened on the very first lap. So Bailey Morgan can only win this on the road, if you like. It won't be classified as an outright win once penalties have been applied, but nevertheless it's still in his interest to get by so that he can negate that 4th place penalty as much as he can and get a 4th place rather than a 5th. As they're coming down the back straight now, heading towards the boot. They are going to be going on to the last lap. Plenty of other close battles down through the field, but understandably we are going to be keeping eyes on the leaders predominantly here as they come round to begin the 8th and final lap. Rhiannon Percox, though, pulled a good lap out that time around. Actually opened the gap out by a 1/10 and a half. Jonah Barker has got by Chris Lewis-Evans further down the order. We've seen that battle going on all through the race, a bit more spaced out amongst some of the top 5. This then is the next close battle down the order. This is Chris Lewis-Evans versus Tom Dix. Tom Dix gets by, and Ned Douglas is going to look to buy into this as well if he can. That has to slot in for now in that high-vis helmet of his. And look at this, Ben Lambert who's looking for a move as well. Here are your leaders down into Osiers. Nothing yet happening for Bailey Morgan. He may see fit to just settle for some decent points, but he's got that costly penalty hanging over him. Will he have anything into the boot? I'm not sure he's going to have enough overspeed to try anything into paddock. So it is going to be a 3rd heat win of the season for Rhiannon Percox. She's going to cross the line to win in heat number 9. Bailey Morgan finishes in 2nd. Callum Brule in 3rd. Good points for him. Stephen Westwood in 4th. 5th for Bryn Olban. Great passes that we've seen from Olban in that race. Sam Essery, your highest placed Class 3, in 6th place. For the man leading the Class 3 standings in the championship as well. Jonah Barker in 7th, 8th for Tom Dix, 9th for Chris Lewis-Evans, 11th, and 10th for Ned Douglas, excuse me, to round out the top 10. Do you recommend going to results.advertising.co.uk?
Absolutely, we're going to take a short break. Heat 10 are out next. Here's a grid for heat number 10. Garrett Berry on pole position, Adam Wheeldon alongside on the front row, Alistair Irvin and Tom Kempick on row 2, Dan Seaman, Cameron Williams row 3. Dante Dillon and Jack O'Neill on row 4, Aidan Rudge and Chris Woodger on row 5, Fraser Brunton and Charlie Summers on row number 6 into the novice ranks, James Browning and Peter Sharp on row 7. Overall, Aaron Stillwell and Matthew Cliff row 8, Jack Booth, Kim Ely on row number 9.
Now, if memory serves correctly, Andrew, Garrett Berry got a retirement on the last heat.
He did.
So
yep.
He's just got to go all in on this.
Yes.
And try and get whatever points he can and see where that lands on those final sprints. It's Garrett Berry on your left as you're currently looking at. Adam Wheeldon in the 79 on driver's right. And away we go into oblivion. Great start from Alistair Irvin in 3rd place. And is that Dan Seeger coming through the middle as well, although he's going to be on the outside, and Tom Kempick is actually going to be on the inside heading up the hill. Look out for him in the 143, but it is Garrett Berry who still leads through Christmas Corner as we've got drivers on the grass. How does that work for rejoining? It's thankfully quite clean. Didn't catch who that was actually having to go cross country. They all work their way through Ashton Corner. We've got a spinner towards the, we've got 2 spinners there towards the back of the field. but it is still Garrett Berry at the front of this one as they're going through the mid-sector. Is it though? Because it's Alistair Irvine alongside, who's maybe being a bit too robust, so lets them back through. Tom Kempink versus Jack O'Neill though for third behind, and O'Neill is going to get himself up into third. Is he into the boot? We'll wait to see how that comes into shot. Yes, it is, and actually that put Kempink out wide, and it's allowed a whole 3 carts to get by on him as well, including the likes of Fraser Brunton and Dante Dillon. At the end of lap 1 then, it is Garrett Berry, Alistair Irvine, Jack O'Neill, Aidan Rudge is who've got up into 4th, Dante Dillon and Tom Kempink.
Yeah, a little bit of rubbing his racing there through the boot.
Just to confirm your spinners or people who've had some kind of issue on that first lap, as Chris Woodger looks to me is maybe going down a position, and that is another spinner of Christmas, but I'll just finish off with it. Jack Booth, Cameron Williams and Peter Sharp had some kind of drama on that first lap. They are now back circulating.
Yep, I think this has got a last chance saloon feel to it as Tom Kempink gets down the inside of Dan Seeger there. All of these drivers will know what they need to do as round the outside attempts Alistair Irvine. That's a brave move, Alistair, to try and take the lead. And Jack O'Neill likes the sight of that because that closes him right in on at least another position if he can make the move. But all these drivers, this is their last chance to get points ahead of the finals. There's a penalty for, oh, that's a big penalty as well. Adam Wielden, ABC takeout.
He goes from bad to worse because I think he might have been the driver who saw across the grass.
Yeah.
He dropped down quite a way. There's a penalty for Chris Woodger for forcing a driver wide, and O'Neill has got through on Irvine there. And I don't know, Andrew, I get that it's the last opportunity.
Spinner was Charlie Summers.
Yep, good spot.
So I'm going to put 2 and 2 together and hopefully not get 5. The takeout penalty was as Summers going round as a result of contact from Wielden.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack O'Neill, though, here onto the back of Garrett Berry is not wasting time with getting to the forefront of this one. But yeah, interesting. Obviously there's battles going on, so I don't want to labour too. But yeah, it was. Alistair Irvine was going in very heavy on those moves, Andrew, and in a way it wasn't paying dividends for him because it allowed O'Neill to get on and get by. But was that Irvine knowing that and going, I've got to get by so I can start to try and build a gap almost? I don't know.
Maybe so, but here goes Jack O'Neill down the inside. Oh, Garrett Berry leaves a bit of a door open and it's all jostling up behind, big contact. And round goes Jack O'Neill. Round goes Jack O'Neill. It was a concertina from further back, I think from Dante Dillon into Alistair Irvine, and that was just as Jack was trying to let Garrett Berry through, let off the throttle a bit and kind of got taken out from behind.
And this is Aidan Rudge trying to go around the outside of Alistair Irvine. Doesn't pay off. Tom Kempink is going to be down the inside of Ozies. I think, Andrew, that Jack O'Neill has slotted in between Kim Ellie and Adam Wielden. I think he's down to 10th as a result of that. There's a contact warning for Fraser Brunton, which I'm not too surprised to see a contact warning in amongst that top 6 on that lap because it was quite, it was so close together at the top of the hill. But yeah, absolutely, Jack O'Neill is down to 9th, just to clarify now, behind Chris Woodger.
This is a big development because Jack O'Neill did not have a good first heat, and well, we've not got all the maths in front of us. I'm going to put it out there. Is Jack O'Neill in danger of not making the A final outright here? Now, of course, he could race through, but I think his day, in terms of championship scoring and the big points race in those finals, has just got a little bit harder.
He's certainly not in the upper echelons of that A final if he is into it, is he? But he's still got some time on the clock, just under 3 minutes indeed, to try and work his way back up. And unless memory is failing me, he hasn't himself garnered a penalty yet. So if he can just work his way back up a bit, he can negate some of what's happened to him in this race. Here is Tom Kempink, though, with a very close attention of Aidan Rudge, where you cut back to Garrett Berry, who still, we said he had to go out and win this one, Andrew, or just do whatever he could. He's doing the right stuff at the moment, but Dante Dillon now has the way cleared for him, and so too does our Heat 1 winner, Fraser Brunton, who's having a brilliant day's racing so far. So the top 3 breaking away here. You consider how close the top 6 were a few laps ago when the contact occurred. Top 3 now breaking away, and then you've got Irvine, Kempink and Rudge in a little battle of their own. There was a little look there from Dante Dillon. He's not a driver, Andrew, who we've ever known to be shy about getting his elbows out here, so one imagines that the attempt for the lead will be quite soon. as Garrett Berry taking a somewhat defensive line through the final sector, and that's compromised him down into paddock, and there goes Dante Dillon. Great move, so long as it just about keeps within track limits, and now the 71 of Brunton's getting involved. He's going to go down the inside of both into oblivion. My goodness me, what a move from Fraser Brunton. The top, well, what was the top two? Dillon and Berry just compromising each other through paddock as they battle, and they're still side by side through Christmas, and it's going to give Brunton the opportunity to get on up the road, and it's going to bring Irvin, Kemping and Rudge all into the battle once again. This is similar to the race that saw Ben Lambert win earlier this morning, Andrew. Yep. That's exactly what Fraser Brunton would want to see in his hypothetical rearview mirror.
That was absolutely brilliant reading of the situation from Fraser Brunton. Kemping has a go on Irvin. That was all about recognising Berry's going to be wide onto the last corner. Whilst Dillon is getting through, he's going to be slow off the corner, nip your way through. Brilliant reading of the situation by Fraser Brunton. Side by side between Rudge and Dillon now, as Jack O'Neill's coming back into this.
And
this is big. This is really big for Jack O'Neill. If he could go around these drivers and get more positions. He got 11th to confirm in heat number 1. It was a win in heat number 2, but he's fighting for his place in the A final out right now. Dante Dillon's going to try and go back down the inside. So that's O'Neill back up to 5th place. Now that might be enough. 11th, 1st and 5th should be enough to get into an A final at least. This is big, big moments in the context of not just today, but of the championship. Fraser Brunton is on his last lap, surely on to another victory, and I'd say one of his best victories in the sprints heats over the years gone by. There's Chris Woodger still in the mix with Dan Seeger just behind, so they've swapped over for 8th place. But coming into the last couple of corners now here in Heat 10, it was all about that reading. A couple of laps ago, Fraser Brunton takes victory in heat number 10 and the fastest lap on the last lap to boot. Garrett Berry 2nd, Alistair Irvin 3rd, Tom Kempink in 4th. Jack O'Neill recovers and gets that cart up to 5th place. That was a big, big couple of laps there from the championship leader. Dante Dillon in 6th, Aidan Rudge 7th, Chris Woodger in 8th. Dan Seeger and Adam Wielden wrap out the top 10, but Wielden has a big penalty for a takeout. Kim Ely is the top C3 runner in 11th, ahead of Matthew Cliff, Charlie Summers, Aaron Stillwell, Cameron Williams, Jack Booth, Peter Sharp and James Brown in the last cart over the line in 18th. What a race. I think that was probably race of the day so far. We'll see all those drivers in their finals later on. Let's take a short break. Heat 11 is next. He's agreed for heat number 11. Daz Teal starts on pole position for this one. Alongside him on the front row is James Wattis, Mike Coppin and James Martin on row 2. Oscar Lancaster and Keith Segal on row number 3. Daniel Cohen and Jason Bradbury have had solid days so far. They start on row 4. Reese Pope and Greg Smith wrap out the top 10. Steve Hicks and Ed Bars, two drivers very strong round here, start on row 6. Amy Breacher and Andy Berry are on row 7, first of the novices. Dean Everest and Jagjit Singh row 2, Michael Daltrey and Justin Draper on row number 9. Sam Morris makes it 19 karts in this one. Interesting C3 order that, Howard, because Breacher, Everest, Singh have all had good runs so far in C3.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting in the Class 3 ranks for certain. And yeah, I'm really intrigued. Do you know what? I'm struggling to read today, Andrew, how these final grids are going to look. It's going to be interesting. I think there's a lot of close points here, but here we go, ready for the off in Heat 11. Daz Teal on your right, drivers left, as they lead away into turn number 1. It's a good start from Mike Coppin, but then turn 2 is going to go with James Wattis on the inside, but also look for James Martin, who's going to be looking for a good one here because he hasn't had the best heat so far today. Daniel Cohen alongside James Martin into Christmas corners. They all work their way through, 3 abreast at the apex, and is anyone going to be put out onto the grass at Boxing Day? In Inkermans, there's a spinner at the back into Inkermans, and we've got some drivers off at the back. Andrew, you were talking about the potential for drama in Class 3. I think that just happened. We'll have to look at who that was involving as they come around. I can see Sam Morris is one of them. I think that's the 32.
Michael Daltrey as well. The 100 is side by side between Lancaster and Bars there. Bars gains a position.
Absolutely. Steve Hicks trying to get by on Lancaster as well if the opportunity presents itself into the boot, but I think he might have to hold station for now unless he can tuck underneath Lancaster towards Paddock. He can tuck underneath, and Steve Hicks is going to be through at Paddock Corner to end lap number 1. Still Daz Teal at the front. Mike Coppin did get by on Wattis in that one. This is Keith Segal battling away but there as they come on to lap number 2. But it is Teal, Coppin, Wattis, Martin and Pope, your top 5.
Maybe a yellow flag out for some cone replacements. So, in fact, that is why, because the number 111 of Justin Draper is out of the race, it would seem. Looks to be on the back straight. And yeah, there's damage to the radiator. I think there's been significant levels of contact to work that radiator loose. Yellow flag there, you see, is out for Draper on the back straight, but it's Teal still from Coppin. Hands up in the air for the drivers, recognising that the yellow flag is out. And a penalty for Amy Breacher, bump and pass penalty as Pope looks down the inside of Martin and just elects to duck out of that into the last corner. Cohen fishing around for an opportunity.
Yeah, I was going to say that will give the opportunity for Cohen potentially up the hill here in that 34 on the rear of Pope. Which would be for second of the Class 2 runners. Looks like Steve Hicks and Greg Smith battling away, and it looks like Hicks has got by Smith up into 9th place as well. The early phase of that lap. The cars, Jason Bradbury are both trying to make lead just ahead of them. On the back of Cohen, Pope, and indeed James Martin there in the green helmet. They work their way through Osiers. Again, a little bit of battling here is going to allow the likes of James Wattis and Mike Coppin to get on up the road. Reece Pope trying to tuck underneath again here on James Martin, but thinks better of it. Still Daz Teal in the lead of this one. Mike Coppin is with him, has just set the fastest lap of the race. Actually, no, he doesn't, because that's immediately beaten by Steve Hicks at 54.1. James Wattis running well in 3rd, highest place to Class 2 runs. A little bit in no man's land there, as Reece Pope goes to the inside of James Martin here through Christmas Corner. That looks textbook, so long as he can get it turned in for Boxing Day, which he can. So good move there, takes Reece Pope up into 4th place.
I get the feeling with this race, if you're the likes of Steve Hicks and Ed Bars at the back of this pack of 9, you've got to be patient in a way, because there's still 4 minutes on the clock to go, and there will be opportunities later in the race. You don't want to throw the cart off and lose points in that manner.
Agreed. Penalty for Andy Berry now, another penalty in amongst the Class 3 ranks. That's for bump and pass as well. So at the moment, Class 3, some Class 3 just need to, they're having a good battle out there. They just need to clean up, tidy up how they're executing those moves when they do go for the pass. Steve Hicks up to 7th place, getting by Ed Barnes and Jason Bradbury on that last lap, so he's having a good time out there. That, I believe, is an additional bump and pass for Andy Berry, which just came up on screen as well, so it could be a very costly one for the driver in the number 156 car, unfortunately. Steve Hicks is onto the back of Daniel Cohen for 6th place. That's a cone penalty for Andy Berry as well, so a dramatic couple of laps he's had. Hicks is a bit of a man on the move here, and Ed Bars will be looking to follow through as well, if at all possible. Because, yeah, if you'll excuse the Whilton Mill pun, it did feel in that last race like his championship rival Jacko O'Neill had Christmas come early for him, because, you know, it's not often you go, yeah, I had a 360-degree spin, was battling in the top 6 first and finishing 5th. It's sort of, you know, fastest lap of the race from Ed Bars as well. He's really pushing here, but so too is Daniel Cohen, a couple of karts ahead of him on the tail of James Martin. But as you say, no one wants to throw this away with a crazy move that doesn't pay off and ends in tears. They're all just biding their time and picking their moment. As the time runs out, there is more and more desperation, which is always the name of the game.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people right now who want to go 2 laps time, I want to be at the front of this train. How do I get there?
Track limit warning for Steve Hicks. That will have been out of the last corner. For long-term viewers will be asking about the new curb that the driver's going to do now. That's fine. We're basically running the Motorsport UK rule now, because if we ran the old Club 100 rule of the edge of the curve as the edge of track limits, the drivers would be decidedly closer to the wall now. They would. That curve was extended, and Mike Coppin down the inside of Daz Teal has got through.
Mike Coppin has decided that now is the time to go, now is the time to hit the front, and that was a very, very good move from driver number 3.
Sorry, Andrew, Poker's challenging Wattis in earnest as well, behind for 3rd place. Tried to move into Christmas corner, didn't make it stick, but is now side by side. And on the outside of Wilkins, he'll be out on the wide stuff there, and it's going to allow James Martin maybe down the inside. Not for now. It stays as they were, but that was an interesting exchange in that battle as well. In fact, Steve Hicks was looking racy, just coming onto the back straight against James Martin there. But Mike Coppin, as you say, Andrew, really nicely executed move up the hill. Textbook, got the job done, and is now up into the lead as they come on to the final lap.
This is good for Hicks and Bars. This is what they've been waiting for. Top 2 gone, so the second group start fighting over 3rd. There could be opportunities afoot here. James Wattis, though, is holding on to 3rd place at the moment. Very, very nicely indeed. He's surely got to do the Joe Holmes-Bayford method of white lining his way round the rest of this course side by side between Bars and Hicks. They're brilliant stuff from Ed. Bars gets through. Hicks on the grass slightly there. Dan Cohen and Jason Bradbury looking for opportunities.
Wattis defending like crazy at the front of this one, Andrew, and that's what's causing the all check up behind him. It's now James Martin versus Ed Bars, and is that going to give the opportunity for Hicks to buy back in? It's almost 3 wide between the Class 1 runners into Ozier's, and James Martin somehow still ahead of them, side by side between Pope and Wattis onto the back straight as well.
This has been a brilliant race from all of these drivers, a very high quality heat number 11, but Mike Coppin is going to come around the final corner to take victory, a big victory for him ahead of Das Teal. Who's going to get it on the line though for 3rd? It's going to be Reese Pope. Reese Pope gets it by look at this, 0.047 back, James Wattis, 0.05 further back, James Martin, 0.025 you'll find Ed Bars, 0.079 Steve Hicks. What is that, Howard? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 for 6, covered by 0.2 of a second.
Yes, basically yes.
Wow, Dan Cohen there in 8th place, Jason Bradbury 9th, Oscar Lancaster wraps out the top 10. Good fight there with Greg Smith. We're going to quickly cut on though to the next heat because it's going to be heat 12. They're going out on circuit now. Here's a grid for heat number 12. Peter Knight has pole position. Matthew Cockram on the front row. Ramanas Sakauskas and Rogerio Mendes on row 2. Ashley White and Chris Powell on row number 3. Jed Toole and Andrew Ravage are on row 4. Josh Adams and Dan Healy on row number 5. Lloyd McGeek Williams and Sam Slater on row number 6. Into the novices, Luke Dunnett first of them alongside Andrew Bushell on row 7. Tim Clark and Russell Cooper on row 8. Simon Sharp and Jake Wilkins on row number 9. That's your grid. As I say, Finn Farrow, who is on the sheet for this heat, not competing today.
I'm feeling good about these trophy finals, mate, because it feels like things are crescendoing nicely through this last rotation of heats.
They are indeed. We're good to go then. Peter Knight will take us from pole position for 7 minutes here in heat number 12. Away they go for this one. Good start. Another very good start for those on the pole odd side of the grid. Peter Knight leads. Looks like Ramanas Sakauskas is immediately up to 2nd place, and Ashley White from P5 on the grid is already up to 3rd. Looking clean and tidy at the moment, Howard, through Christmas corner. Big opportunity this for Peter Knight.
Good start for Josh Adams, up into the top 5, having started 9th on the grid already, it looks to me, mate, as they break downhill into Ashley corner. So good start there, but it is still Peter Knight as they work at the front, as they work their way through Wilkins. Sakauskas in 2nd place. Second from Jed Toole, who's had a great start as well, up into 3rd. As side by side goes Ashley White and Josh Adams onto the back straight, and I think Josh Adams has got by on Ashley White there. A great start from Jed Toole there, who goes a little bit wide there. Is that going to allow Adams through into the final corner? Yes, it is. And at the end of lap 1, it is Peter Knight from Sakauskas.
Yeah, that all stemmed from the very first moments of the race where Matthew Cockram was a little bit slow off of the lights there in P2, and it affected everybody in that row of, in that column, I should say, of karts behind him. And you can see Chris Powell in the light blue and orange helmet colours, jostling around trying to gain some positions. Was 8th after the first lap of the race.
Mendes there at Ashby corner. Made that stick as far as I can tell. Side by side. 65 and 37. That's going to allow Bryn Alban, I think, to buy into this.
Luke Dunnett there, the driver in 37, having a good run here at the front of the C3s.
Oh, and there's contact on Bryn Alban. And that's him round, and that was contact with the 65 of Lloyd McGee Williams.
Apologies, I think it may be Andrew Bushell, because they're both in the Speed Hunters suits. Let's see if it was the number 52 falling down the road. Yes, it was. So it's Andrew Bushell who was, yeah, I think that is correct there. That's a penalty for Lloyd McGee Williams involved in all of that for the takeout.
Apologies there. But yeah, good back going on class 3 as well towards the end of that lap. Tim Clark was backing away. Simon Sharp. Luke Dunnett involved as well. So there's a penalty for Lloyd McGee Williams for that takeout. Unsurprised to see that one under the circumstances. As we're with the battle for second place, Raminas Sakauskas in the 13, the 9 of Joshua Adams closing in on him, and further behind Jed Toole under a lot of pressure from Chris Powell on this lap.
Well, Peter Knight's doing Peter Knight's things at the moment in this race. He's been one of the fastest drivers so far today, 54.3 last time around.
There's been a bit of change behind Ashley Wayne Fatler has. Yeah, Dan Healy has actually got through on Jed Toole and Chris Powell on that lap. Big lap for Dan Healy there. Once again, here is Chris Powell on the tail of Jed Toole. As it was a lap ago, but the difference is that Dan Healy got by both of them somewhere in the last two on the circuit.
Sam Slater trying to recover. Powell down the inside of Toole there, going for 6th place. Cone penalty for Tim Clark.
Through for second here, Andrew. Down the inside of Ozius goes Adams, and that is through up into second past Sakauskas. Sakauskas was just a bit wide coming out of Wilkins, used all of the, when I say all of the runoff, there is a cut through there that provides a tarmac exit curb, if you like, to Wilkins. But he was just a little bit out wide on that one, and it allowed Adams to slip down the inside of the braking into Ozius.
1.6 seconds the gap between first and second now. Here we're looking at the fight over 4th place. Ashley White in the 18, Dan Healy in the 2. Dan Healy says, thank you very much, I'll have some of that. Good run up the hill. And that's 4th place for last year's runner-up. 3 minutes to go. This race going as I think we'd reasonably expect when we read the grid out for this one. It's still lots to play for. Can Dan Healy cross the gap to Sakauskas and Adams? You can see, in fact, Adams is pulling away from Sakauskas now. It's going to be difficult for Josh Adams, I feel, to close down Peter Knight even in this rich reign of form that he's in, because 1.6 seconds round Whilton Mill is a fairly big gap. There's not a lot of time to start pulling it in, but he will try.
Good race so far from Rogerio Mendes here, Andrew, in the slipstream of Jed Toole now. Matthew Cochran is coming along for the party as well in that number 30 car. So a good battle in amongst the Class 2 ranks here in this one. That's the 61 of Andrew Ravage as well, not too far off the back of him as well. So this is one to pay close attention to in this latter part of the race. Luke Dunnett is leading the Class 3 standing. Got Lloyd McGee Williams with him, but bear in mind that McGee Williams has got the takeout penalty for the incident that occurred between himself and Andrew Bushell earlier on.
Yeah, he has indeed got that to deal with. Here's Chris Powell. And in fact, that's a change for 5th place. Chris Powell ahead of Ashley White.
This is the one we saw at Christmas, wasn't it? Earlier on in the lap. So yeah, change of position confirmed as they cross the line. Not sure if they've got enough time to catch up to these two though. Dan Healy though is a man on the move once again as he's looking for an opportunity on Raminas Sakauskas here. He decides not to go for it this time, Andrew. Just didn't have the run up the hill. As they come through Boxing Day and then this right-hander at Inkermans. That downhill into Ashley. He has a think about it. It's easier said than done. What this camera doesn't show as we look up from Ashby is how downhill that is.
Yeah.
And also how much it feels like it tightens on the apex, but it does also tighten here, and there is where Dan Healy chooses to go down the inside. It's at Ozier's corner, and he gets the job done, but Sakauskas is going to fight back into the boot under braking, but it'll be the inside for Healy on the next section. Sakauskas is going to try tuck underneath, but that is experience shown from Dan Healy. He stopped it on the apex rather than running out full speed. Compromised his speed in order to not give a gap on the inside that Sakauskas could exploit.
That was expertly dealt with. The number of times we've seen, you know, a driver in Dan Healy's position, you know, they try and pinch the driver on the inside down. They get pitted round in the boot. He just gave Ramadas the space there. Got it locked down, as you say, Howard, for the second part of the boot. The key thing being he now has third position and another few points in this race.
So this Class 2 battle's going well here too. Mendes, Cochrane, and indeed Rabic has caught on to the back of it now, so what can happen with that in the last lap? Here, though, is your highest placed Class 2 driver, and indeed your highest placed driver of all of them in this one, Peter Knight, has just controlled this one. We've barely looked at him as Chris Powell is putting pressure on Ramadas Sakauskas in this last lap, but it is going to be at the front. Peter Knight, who comes round to take the final heat win in the lightweights of round 9, wins heat number 12. Joshua Adams is second. Dan Healy, a great race up to third. Sakauskas hangs on for fourth place with Chris Powell in fifth. It is going to be Ashley White in sixth, seventh for Rogerio Mendes in the end, so there was a change on that last lap. Managed to get by on Jed Toole there for Mendes. Andrew Rabbage in 9th, 10th for Matthew Cochrane. Luke Dunnett is your highest placed Class 3 runner in 11th. There's Lloyd McGee, Williams, albeit with the penalty to be applied. Tim Clark, Russell Cooper, Sam Slater, Andrew Bushell, Jake Wilkins, Simon Sharp, around number 18 car finishes for heat number 12. And that concludes the heats for the lightweights.
It does indeed, and Dan Healy just sneaked to 53.303 in at the end of there. That's a telling lap time to put in right at the end of the heats. And breathe, ladies and gentlemen. As we say, that is the end of the 12 heats, 3 rotations of 4. And, there'll be a bit of a pause now whilst the suns are tallied up across those 12 heats, and we find out who's qualified for the A final, who's in the B, and who remains there in the C final. 4 places available in the C final to race through into the B final, and then a further 2 places from the B final into the A.
Absolutely, and don't forget, we do it all again then with our heavyweights, so plenty of action still to come your way here from round 9 of the 2021 Club 100 Sprints Championship. And speaking of Club 100 and its championships, maybe we should take a look at some of the exciting developments coming for Club 100 in 2022.
Hello viewers, yes that's right, Club 100 are proud to announce that we are unveiling a brand new championship, a new race series for drivers aged 8 to 12 years old, the Club 100 Cadet Championship. My name's Steve Brown, otherwise known as Super GT in the world of karting. I've been racing Club 100 for a good 13 years now, so I know a fair amount about it, but today I'm here to learn about the new championship. All right, I am joined by the main man himself, Mr. JV. It's good to see you as always.
Thank you, Steve.
Please tell me about the new championship.
So the Club 100 Cadet Championship, it's an arrive and drive, high performance race championship, designed for cadet age drivers from the age of 8 through to 12 years of age. In fact, they can start racing at the age of 7 in the year of their 8th birthday. And we're kicking off in 2022 with a couple of test days. We're going to call them Academy Days, so it's the idea is to get the new drivers to come in and try it out for the first time in a pressure-free environment, and then we move on to the 7-round championship, which kicks off in May next year, in fact here at Buckmore Park.
Okay, is there a need for a license to do this championship?
There is. We are affiliated with Motorsport UK, so we will be running under permit, so drivers will need a license. It will be the KX license, which is free of charge and to the driver. And and obviously what comes with that is all the bells and whistles. You know you're going to get a correctly run race meeting, should we say, with all the support infrastructure in place.
And in terms of cost, what are we looking at?
So we're looking at around about between £190 to £200 per race entry. But look, what you've got to remember is that's arrive and drive. So you're not paying for anything else. There are no hidden extras there. You're not paying for fuel, you're not paying for tyres, you're not paying for damage costs or anything like that. We bring it all to the track. The drivers just turn up and drive.
So we've got the kart behind us here. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, so it's a Birrell chassis. So the kart itself is a Birrell kart. And the powertrain we've chosen is the ROTAX micro engine. So that it follows the story through to our senior Club 100 with the Junior Max that we use. So tell me, Steve, what do you think of the Club 100 Cadet Championship?
Well, I'm no longer 8 to 12 years old, unfortunately. But if I was, then I think I'd be pestering my parents to get me out in one of these karts for a year. I think it's just a good way to get into karting at an affordable and a fair level. So there we have it, guys. If you're aged 8 to 12 and want to get yourself into high performance karting without having to own the kart, get yourself over to club100.co.uk and register interest for the Club 100 Cadet Championship. Good luck, mate.
Very good stuff, all to look forward to in 2022. And big thanks to Steve Super GT Brown for lending us his time there to help us out on that piece to camera. He's a very, very busy man, and great to have his support for the 2022 Club 100 Cadet Championship. Very much looking forward to that. I think that will be a fantastic addition to Club 100 and a great initiative, obviously, as part of the karting pathway for Motorsport UK.
Absolutely, absolutely brilliant to see. You know, the young talent that's going to get involved as a result of that. And heck, we're already talking, mate, about some of the stuff coming through this championship from YDC, from the Drivers' Championship. So, yeah, really, really exciting stuff coming up in the world of Club 100.
www.club100.co.uk for all the information, and even more information as it comes out over the next few weeks. And I say not just for the Cadets Championship, but for the Young Drivers Championship, for drivers of a junior age, and for these championships as well for older racers. So I've been hearing the announcements in the paddock that calendar information will be out in the next few weeks. Do we have, Mr. Mitchell, a C final grid yet?
No.
No. Okay. We'll keep padding. Keep your comments coming in, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for your continued support of Club 100. Upcoming things in the world of Club 100, both here on Alpha Live and on Double Dash Motorsport Media. As we say, we've got all of the races, and we're very, very glad to say this, between now and the end of the year. We will be down at Lyd. We love Planet Lyd, where we had one of the best streams, I think, of recent years, and that's a very high standard to say. When we last did a streamed round at Lyd. Remember, the heavyweights in particular were very, very strong in terms of their racecraft on that day. And you can tell I'm padding because I'm just trying to find the calendar to confirm which weekend that it is. It is the weekend of the 30th and the 31st of October that we will be at Lyd. And then 2 weekends later, we will be at Bayford Meadows for the season finale. And who knows what we could have there, because being mid-November, the weather could be a little bit indifferent. But either way, it'll be a season finale that you'll be able to follow here on Alpha Live.
And speaking of Club 100 action going on in mid-November as well, the weekend after that, if memory serves correctly, we will be here for British University's Karting Championship action as well.
So we'll keep an eye out for all of the announcements on that going forward. But test day is starting soon as well. And if I get around to editing it, and you're a newer BUKC driver, or you're an older BUKC driver wanting to give some people some tips, there'll be a video coming out on the DDMM YouTube channel in due course to give you some advice about that. Enough about that, though. I believe we have a C final grid to read out for you. So this is the Lightweight Sprints C final. This is all about getting in the top 4. Let's have a look at the grid. Matthew Cockerham has pole position from the heats. Dean Everest alongside on the front row. Amy Breacher and Chris Lewis Evans on row 2. I quite regularly say this: if this is the most boring race of all time, those 4 drivers will go through to the B final. Trying to stop them and get into that top 4 will be these drivers: Kim Ely and Matthew Cliff on row number 3. Charlie Summers and James Dunnett, row 4. Cameron Williams and Andrew Bushell on row 5. Luke Dunnett and Tim Clark on row number 6. Some quite surprising names in this part of the grid. Russell Cooper there on row 7. Hussein Rashid. Very surprised to see Hussein there. And a bit of work to do from row 7. Simon Sharp and Keith Segal on row 8. James Browning and Aaron Stillwell on row number 9. Rizwan Mangat and Jake Wilkins on row 10. Andy Berry and Justin Draper, row 11. Peter Sharp and Michael Daltrey are on row 12. Jack Booth and Sam Morris, row 13. Finn Farrow is a DNS for this one. So that's the grid for the C final. Longer race.
Absolutely. But a crucial one in how you structure it, mate, with that long race format, because as you say, you've got to have your eyes on the prize for that top 4.
Just whilst we're waiting for the C finalists to emerge out of the circuit. As I say, we've mentioned our sprints, streams and rounds for the rest of the year. If you like your esports, there's Club 100 action there as well. Tuesday night over on the Double Dash Motorsport Media YouTube channel, 9 PM. We'll have the next round of the Club 100 Gran Turismo Sport Championship run by Sam Dimolo, who's out there somewhere on circuit observing today. So a lot of our drivers who racing that were here yesterday for the endurance and the sprint 60s. So having a good chat with some of them. So here is the grid for the C final. Dean Everest there on the left of your picture in the yellow and green, almost canary-like helmet. It's a big race, Howard, for C3s as well, because it's a good opportunity to get through to the B final.
It certainly is. I was just checking the B final grid to see what class 3s were already up in there, and it's been a very strong showing today from some of our class 3s. So we are not going to be deciding any podiums for any of our subclasses in this one. It's all about the points you can score and whether you can get the promotion.
Here we go then for the C final. Matthew Cockram takes us away from pole position. Good start from both of those on the front row of the grid. Dean Everest gets a big slide. Amy Breach is going to be through and into second place. Up to Christmas Corner they go. 12 minutes were on the clock already. 15 seconds of those have passed by. Everest trying to get back up the inside. There's a little bit of squabbling. And wow, big hit there for a couple of drivers. And Jake Wilkins is involved in the middle of all of that. Everybody's running again, but I think that was from about 10th place that was all going on. Drivers trying to pull through. It's Cameron Williams who's got a penalty in the number 54. Is that for a takeout? Yes, it is. So unfortunately for Cameron Williams, that means he already cannot qualify for the B final, even if he wins the race on the road. A bit like Mr. Hamilton yesterday in qualifying for the Turkish Grand Prix. End of lap number 1 then. Matthew Cockram, that was the perfect start. If you're at the front of one of these repechage finals, the 145 of Kim Ely's coming through. That's a good start from Kim. So at the moment it would be Cockram, Everest, Ely and Breacher going through to the B final.
Carts involved in an incident up at Christmas Corner were Justin Draper, Jack Booth and Rizwan Mangat, as well as Jake Wilkins were identified at the time. The penalty of Aaron Stillwell by contact of the pass was so costly. Plus some of the defence is there heading into Ashby Corner. I think that might have been Michael Daltrey. I think I saw the 100 there going to the inside.
10 minutes and 40 on the clock. And just to explain, a takeout penalty is +6 positions, as often there was that the 29 possibly, or the 26. We'll keep an eye out on that. And there's a penalty for Sam Morris. That's 4 positions for a bump and pass, and not a complete takeout. But a bump and pass in itself is enough to knock you down and out of the reckoning for the B final.
Looks to me, Andrew, like it might have been Tim Clark who was your spinner there. Yeah, because he's dropped right down the order, unfortunately.
There's number 96 that had gone around. Matthew Cockram, nice and comfortable here. Just needs to keep eyes forward. 1.4 seconds to the nearest 10th is Matthew's lead.
There's a interesting start for Dean Everest. In the first few seconds, I was going to say it's one of the best starts we've seen from second on the grid all day, but just lost the rear a little bit, didn't he? Through the apex of turn 2. Gathered it up well, but that gave the opportunity to Amy Breacher. But that's all behind them now. Kim Ely up into second, and Amy Breacher once again chasing Dean Everest. And then behind them, Chris Lewis-Evans and Charlie Summers doing battle.
And if you're in Dean Everest's position here, you kind of just want to sit there and work with Kim ahead to broaden out this pack and leave the battle to be over 4th place.
Lewis-Evans and Summers side by side. Is Summers going to have enough room on Boxing Day? And yeah, there was a bit of a squeeze there on the apex. It can always get difficult because there's so much runoff on the exit of Christmas, but then it all has to tighten up again for the apex of what we call Boxing Day. And now Luke Dunnett's trying to buy into this side by side with Charlie Summers, still on the outside of him into Osiers, but slots back in behind.
Big opportunity now, though, for your top 4. If Amy Breacher checks over her shoulder in a moment's time, she'll see that there's a gap there, and then you just work as a 3s. Up the inside here comes
Dunnett versus Dunnett.
Yeah, the two Dunnetts going at it there as they come over start finish. What is the gap between 4th and 5th now? It's 1 second. Oh, round! Contact there. It's Bushell involved, and there's another driver going in there as well. It's the number 22 of Cliff, Matthew Cliff.
I think it might have been James Dunnett who went round with Andrew Bushell there. Look to confirm that one. Penalty for Rizwan Manga, which is spinning under yellows.
Yep, that's a penalty on the basis that he's been in the yellows. He's not under full control going into the yellow flag zone.
Matthew Cockram, your leader at the moment. Kim Ely in second. Dean Everest and Amy Breacher in 3rd and 4th. And as far as I'm aware so far, none of those top 4 have a penalty hanging over them. So as it currently stands, those are your 4 promotees up into that B final. Chris Lewis-Evans in 5th, Charlie Summers in 6th. And Luke Dunnett, the last one of the sort of main body of carts at the front of the field. James Dunnett's spin at the start of that previous lap showing in the form of, unfortunately for him, dropping down the timing order. Amy Breacher starting to have a look now, Andrew, when there's little opportunities showing themselves on Dean Everest, but she'll know the situation. She doesn't want to throw this away.
She's actually stacking up a little bit because the pace for Cochrane, 55.1 last time around. Ely 54.6, 54.7 for Everest, 54.7 for Breacher. This pack's actually in danger of falling back into the likes of Chris Lewis-Evans and Charlie Summers. Charlie Summers in 6th place at the moment, the fastest driver out there, 54.4 last time around. 6.5 minutes to go. That's pretty much as long as a heat. This is not over yet for any of these drivers in the top 4.
Absolutely. Cochrane under pressure from Ely as well at the front of this. Top 4 do not want to start battling too much, otherwise the likes of Chris Lewis-Evans and Charlie Summers will come into it. But as I say, it's not. It was a 54.6 last time around, as that's a look from Summers on Lewis-Evans into Ashby and didn't quite make it stick. And that's the kind of opportunity that Luke Dunnett's going to start licking his lips for, as he is all over the back of Summers.
I think for me the onus has got to be on the leader to set this pace and as a 4 work this way out. Summers was a very long way off circuit on the exit of Ashby there. I just saw a red suit marooned in the grass. We'll try and find out who that was in a few moments' time. See what the pace is like this time around. 54.6, yeah, we're in the 54.5s and the 54.6s, which is okay. It is slightly quicker than those behind. Isn't pure ultimate pace. Is Ely going to go up the inside? I like this. I think that's the right move from Kim Ely to get on with it and get up the road and protect himself in that manner from 5th and 6th behind. Good move there from Kim Ely into the lead.
Yeah, agreed. Good decisive move. I think if you're Matthew Cochrane, you just want to the yellow flag out there. Tide being replaced in the apex. There's something down the back straight at the moment for why that yellow was out. Didn't see what that was, but a good decisive move from Ely, as you say, mate. And now needs to set that pace. But look at this, Dean Everest getting checked up a little bit behind Cochrane, and that meant Breacher had another look there. There's a contact warning for Luke done it.
I think it's Andrew Berry who may be marooned out there, because Andrew Berry is not circulating at the moment. He's in 25th place and 6 laps off the overall lead.
This is a good drive though from Chris Lewis-Evans, not giving this one up. Personal best last time around, 54.4, took 0.6 of a second out of Everest and Breacher ahead, and he's right there now, Howard. This is going to be a 5-way battle for 4 places in the B final.
Absolutely, he's tightening the screw brilliantly here, and if you're Amy Breacher, you're going to be starting to feel that pressure. You felt that she just had the pace for the last couple of laps on Dean Everest, but can't quite find a way through. This is going to be an interesting one, Andrew, and there's still a good 4 minutes to go of this one. So crucial laps here. Don't count out Charlie Summers and Luke Dunnett as well. If these top 5 start to baffle, they could come into this.
And a penalty as well, a penalty here, a penalty there, can change this situation.
Totally, yeah.
3 minutes and 30 to go. Dean Everest being slightly defensive there, which is within his own rights to do so. It's the pace like last time round, all of them in the 54.5s and 54. 54.5 due to a 54.7 seems to be the pace at the front of this pack at the moment. But quicker at the moment is Chris Lewis-Evans, took 5/10 out of this group. This is definitely not over at all, and there's plenty of time for Summers to close in.
Yeah, this is really good. We could be looking at 7 drivers fighting over the top 4 places in the last few laps here at Whilton Mill. Ely has not been able, though I think it was the right call to go for the move, Ely has not been able to pull away here from the 3 drivers behind. As Amy Breacher is going to look to try and tuck underneath Dean Everest again, but can't find the way through there. Everest is positioning his car in a way that just manages to deter the move by Breacher every time at the moment. But still, Chris Lewis-Evans is closing in here, as there's a cone penalty for Peter Sharp.
Good move up the order. Justin Draper has got 12th place off of Simon Sharp.
Yep. Also seen in the last couple of laps, Michael Daltrey's been on the move as well. Into 19th place now for him. Just over 2 minutes left on the clock, though. At the moment, your promotees will be Kim Ely, Matthew Cockram, Dean Everest and Amy Breacher, as Breacher is again with a bit of overspeed just before paddock, but can't capitalise on it. And she can't make many more moves like that that don't pay off, Andrew, because now Lewis-Evans is right with her as they come up the hill on lap number 12. Dean Everest is going to take a sort of mid-track position that we've seen him do for the last few laps. Look out for Charlie Summers as well, who wants to arrive on the scene and get into a battle with Chris Lewis-Evans. Interesting one, isn't it? There's the traffic ahead of him as well, I just saw, turning into Ashby.
90 seconds to go. There'll be at least 2 more laps of this one. Oh, cone penalty for Charlie Summers. Now, that is not completely, you know, a ruiner of the opportunity to get up into the B final, but it means for Summers now, got to finish 3rd on the road at least, and blue flags are out for the back markers.
The trouble is, if you're a back marker, all right, fine. So there's 1 leader behind me. No. There's the top 7 or 8 behind you. So this could be a difficult one for back markers to judge. As up the hill once again, Amy Breacher this time is in the slipstream of Dean Everest again.
This could get a little bit. Actually, no, that's very good drive.
Yeah,
number
no,
22.
fair.
Well
That's fair
done
enough.
to the driver there, Matthew Cliff. Trying to find that there was a good amount of traffic coming through. Way, just parked it well out of the way of everybody else.
There's going to be 1 more lap of this race when they next cross the start-finish line in about half a lap's time. Lewis-Evans, excuse me, is starting to close in once again after a little bit of a scuffle with Charlie Summers some 2 laps ago that put them a little bit off the back. So this is all built up nicely, Andrew. It's Kim Ely who leads them on to the last lap. Who is going to get promoted into this B final?
It's very, very close indeed. Everything to play for. And we have seen drivers race through from the C final into an A final before. It's not completely impossible. Who's going to be on that B final grid? No changes in position at the moment. It's still Ely, Cockram, Everest and Breacher. No penalties at play at the moment in that top 4. Ely's looking pretty safe. In through Ashby Corner they go. Cockram has controlled this one well.
if it's going to come from anywhere, I feel it's going to be a third and fourth place battle. But at the moment, they don't need to battle. They've got a good gap over Chris Lewis Evans behind. Into the boot we go then for the final time. Keep an eye on the 130. That's the kart in the worst position to be in one of these races, right on the bubble of getting through, but I think they're all going to stay in position. They are indeed. Kim Healy wins the C final. Matthew Cockram is through, as is Dean Everest and Amy Breacher. A very well managed C final from all four of those drivers. We've seen, you know, in the past, people make a real hash brown out of that, but that was spot on. It doesn't matter that it was only by 0.2 of a second. The fact is, those four are through.
Totally agree. I can almost tell that we watched a C final that was slightly later on in the season there. The maturity of how people were driving was impressive. I think in particular I'm going to pick out Amy Breacher there, because I think there were several times where if everything had been on the line, she could have done a bit of a banzai move down the inside of Dean Everest there, but had the patience to hold back, and in the end was paid off for that. So fair play to all those drivers, and well done to Kim Healy as well for the win there.
Chris Lewis Evans was fifth. Still decent points there for that position. Charlie Summers sixth, Luke Dunnett seventh, Russell Cooper, Andrew Bushell and Aaron Stillwell in the top 10 provisionally, but before any penalties are applied. Sam Morris, Justin Draper, Simon Sharp, James Browning and Cameron Williams all in the top 15. Peter Sharp, Keith Segal, Tim Clark, Michael Daltrin, Jack Booth in the top 20. And then it was Rizman Mangat, James Dunnett, Matthew Cliff and Jake Wilkins running there down to 24th on the time, which was Andrew Berry.
Yes, indeed. Don't forget, you can go to results.alphatiming.co.uk and click on Club 100 for all the confirmed results to get any grids. And indeed, I'm sure grids will be what we'll be looking at next, because next out here at Whilton Mill will be the B final.
Here we go then for the B final. Two places on offer to get through to the A. Bryn Alban and Oscar Lancaster have the best starting positions. For grabbing those two positions, they are on the front row of the grid. Bailey Morgan and Greg Smith start on the second row of the grid. Samuel Essery, brilliant in C3, is there on the third row of the grid alongside James Martin. Adam Wheeldon and Ashley White start on row 4. No, correction, Sam Slater and Adam Wheeldon there on row 4. Ashley White and Jagjit Singh, another one of the C3s there on row 5. Daniel Cohen and Garrett Berry on row 6. Ned Douglas and Stephen Westwood on row 7. Rogerio Mendes and Lloyd McGeoch Williams on row 8. Archie Hobson and Athavra Desai on row 9. Ramanas Sakauskas and Jed Toole on row 10. Andrew Ravage and Ross O'Brien on row 11. And we'll also have in a few moments' time confirmed the 4 qualifiers as expected. Kim Healy, Matthew Cockram on the penultimate row of the grid, Dean Everest and Amy Breacher on the final row of the grid. They've all passed the mandatory weight check.
We often don't talk about the actual points that have got you through onto the grid for these finals, because we want to focus on the drivers' names and where they're starting on the grid. But you may have noticed on that grid graphic just how close these drivers have been through their heats. There is a 3-way tie for 71 points to have got you in second, third and fourth on the grid respectively. There was a 5-way tie on 67 points, which defines 6th down through to Jagjit Singh in 10th, and this then therefore gets defined by lap times. Fastest lap across all of the heats done. There's a 3-way tie on 63 points. There's a 4-way tie on 61 points. It has been very close through these heats, Andrew, and I think there are a lot of drivers in the first third of this grid at least who rightly might be going, I fancy that A final.
Yeah.
There's some stiff competition.
I mean, you look down to row 6 and you've got Garrett Berry. You know, why is Garrett there? Well, it's because he had a retirement in his second heat.
Yeah.
When in the first and third heats that he's had so far today, he's been very, very quick. So I have a feeling this could be quite an interesting race, because I say there's only 2 spots to go into that A final, and there's definitely more than 2 drivers who can achieve that in this race.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And don't forget, by the way, we've been talking a lot about the promotion spots and things like that, you do get a little trophy as well for taking the race win in both the C final and the B final. So it's not without any reward. It's not just that we sort of linearly score everybody down and there's no acknowledgement that we won a race. But only 2 of the drivers who are coming out on the track are going to be able to promote onto the back of the A final. Lovely weather still here at Whilton Mill. Do hope you're enjoying this coverage of round 9 of the 2021 Club 100 Sprints Championship, coming to you courtesy of Alpha Live with commentary from Double Dash Motorsport Media. Do please like, subscribe and share. Let's get people talking about this fantastic Club 100 Championship as we're heading towards the crescendo of the season in the last 3 race meetings of it. This is brilliant stuff, but right now we look ahead to the lightweight sprint B final. Bryn Olban in the number 16 there, on your right, driver's left, and the 109 of Oscar Lancaster alongside as well.
Here we go then, 2 places in the A final to battle for. Away we go, green light for 12 minutes here at Whilton Mill. Good start from both of those at the front of the grid. Bryn Olban and Oscar Lancaster already. Sam Slater is on the grass there and can just about creep back onto it, and does so indeed, but that's already Sam Slater's chances of getting through to the A final done. Good start for Greg Smith, is up to 3rd place there on the inside through Christmas Corner. And down into Ashby goes several drivers off, and one of them Jet Tool, the number 75 is off there. He's going to have to retrieve the kart by pushing it, cannot start from there, and is another one out of this race already.
Yeah, absolutely, and was that a tag on the tyres as well coming out of Wilkins, further back in the order. So, you know, no one's pulling the punches in the early session here, as this is Bailey Morgan for the lead, isn't it, on Bryn Olban here, and Greg Smith is going to be the opportunist as well, and down the inside, the 64 of James Martin is trying to get involved in as well. We haven't even acknowledged the fact yet that we've got 2 Class 1 runners in this B final, in the form of James Martin and Ashley White. They both would be on average would expect to get up into the B final, but it's by no way guaranteed. As look at this, this is not lap 1, folks, I promise you. 3 wide, two ranks of 3 wide coming through Christmas and Boxing Day. How on earth are they not all off there? That was very, very impressively judged from all drivers as they all go into Ashby Corner.
About umpteen overtakes in all of that, so I'm not going to try and describe each and every one of them, and it's still carrying on here. This is a little bit rough and ready. It's about survival at the moment.
Jagjit Singh there got put out onto the grass a little bit there at Wilkins. Has had to go to the back of this crazy mid-pack here at Whilton Mill. Ramanas Sakauskas there in the 13, chasing Bryn Olban right at the front of it. You've got Ned Douglas getting involved there at boot.
Ramanas Sakauskas bumping past penalty, cannot qualify through to the A finals. Off goes the number 30 there, spinning round. It's Matthew Cochrane. He'd made progress from the C final rather, but won't make any further progress. He's off and in the grass.
Contact warning for Ashley White. This is fast and frenetic stuff. Fastest lap of the race from Garrett Berry up into 4th place, and here is right at the front of the field Bailey Morgan defending as James Martin goes down the inside of Greg Smith at Ashby, but Smith is going to fight back. He's going to be on the outside for the next corner. Garrett Berry there in the 60 is it's still Smith hanging on there, but James Martin's going to try down the inside, but now he's actually under attack from Garrett Berry, who fancies his chances. He's going to tag the tyres there. That could be very costly for him, getting a cone penalty, and Oscar Lancaster has swept through on him onto the back straight, up into 4th place.
Run, Bailey, run. This is a good opportunity now to break away from the rest of the pack. Greg Smith's looking racy here, has got back into 2nd place. Let's count them over the line. The gap is 0.6 of a second for Morgan at the front of the field. Contact warning for the number 81, which is Stephen Westwood, currently in 10th place, as for Bryn Olban there in 16th. Here comes Garrett Berry having a look at Oscar Lancaster into Christmas Corner. Nothing going there. And just a little bit, it starts to calm down a bit now. It's still very much up to Bailey Morgan and Greg Smith to keep this good pace up if they want to be in that A final.
I'm fairly confident in saying that we don't have any Class 3 Class 3 qualifiers into the A final at the moment, so one has to pick out the performance so far of Sam Essery in that 107 kart. Look out for him, as indeed you can, because he's here on screen chasing down the number 60 of Garrett Berry.
Another cone penalty for Ramanas Sakauskas. In fact, I think that's just the
graphic playing back through. Look at this pace from Greg Smith, 54.209. He's right on the rear bumper of Bailey Morgan. Now, I would suggest at this stage, working together, because there is a gap there over James Martin and Oscar Lancaster behind, that they can propagate out even further if they play the cards right. Amy Breacher going for a move down the inside of driver number 66, which is Jagjit Singh. That's a Class 3 battle going on there.
It is. So Kim Ely, your winner from that C final, up into third place amongst the Class 3 runners at the moment, chasing down Akava Desai for 14th place. So keep an eye on that for those following on timing. This is James Martin and Oscar Lancaster, third and fourth place. Looking for how, working out how we're going to get ourselves into the top two positions. As further behind, that's Dan Cohen and Sam Essery going side by side towards Paddock Corner, and I think it stays as they were for now. The 107 on your screens now of Sam Essery staying ahead of the 34 of Daniel Cohen. Up the hill, though, is Greg Smith going for the move on Bailey Morgan. He's decided to break here and start fighting. And they're side by side, and this is going to be costly for time here as they're side by side. There's a bit of rubbing of the wheels, and that's going to allow James Martin to get involved here. He's down the inside of Bailey Morgan at Ashby Corner, and this is where it gets costly for our top two, and he's through on both of them. James Martin up into the lead. Oscar Lancaster now having a nibble at the back of Bailey Morgan as Dan Cohen is trying to get him. Sorry, Garrett Berry is trying to get involved in the number 60, as is Sam Essery and Daniel Cohen. The top seven now, all of a sudden, smell the opportunity, and that, Andrew, can be the cost of getting stuck into a fight just a little too early.
Yeah, I think Bailey Morgan would have would be perfectly within his own rights to be a little bit annoyed with that one. That wasn't fully necessary for me. The thing was, James Martin was the fastest driver last time around, has got good speed, had got the gap over the likes of Lancaster behind, and has now nipped through his, a driver of James Martin's experience knows what to do in that situation, read the situation perfectly, and now has got the lead.
But equally, I don't know, Greg Smith felt he had the pace and he could feel the pressure being screwed on from behind. I don't know. It's a difficult call to make sometimes. Correct. Just to play devil's advocate.
You've got to make sure that you get the move done clean and efficiently, and unfortunately that's not quite what Greg was able to do there.
From a neutral's perspective, though, it's brought pretty much the top seven into one single train here, and this is going to be fascinating because only the top two can go through into that A final. If you're James Martin, you now need to focus on bridging that gap at the front, but Greg Smith, we have seen, has had some tidy pace so far today. Fastest lap of the race from Garrett Berry, but they're all going pretty fast in this train now. They've got that slipstream effect as Bailey Morgan is perhaps looking to tuck underneath Greg Smith as the opportunity presents itself. Sam Esser is there in the 107 as well, still highest placed Class 3 runner. There's a cone penalty for Archie Hobson further down the order. This is super tight now amongst our top, I say seven. Stephen Westwood's starting to catch on to the back of this as well. It's all closing up, and Andrew, we're only just beyond the halfway mark with this one. This has got a lot to run in our B final at Whilton Mill.
Yeah, and it is about keeping your head in this situation and not panicking. There's a yellow flag out for I imagine a cone replacement. If it's no, it's not. Is that Bryn Albin?
It is.
Bryn Albin off there in the blue suits with the red trim. So unfortunately, Bryn's not going to be a trip to the podium today. 4.5 minutes to go. It's still Martin from Smith, Morgan, Essery, Berry. It's that top five covered by 1 second at the moment. 3 of them are going to end up disappointed in this race. And again, Greg Smith goes down the inside. That's better. That is a lot better from Greg Smith. He got the braking right this time. That is how you go for a lead in one of these B finals.
It is, but Bailey Morgan sees the opportunity as well here in that number 14 car. Is he going to have a look at James Martin? Because Martin is looking at how can he get the switch back out of Wilkins. No, he can't, and that's going to be the opportunity for Bailey Morgan. Down the inside at Osiers, Martin's going to be out wide onto the curb, and look out for Sam Essery trying to buy into this as well. The hands up go for the yellow flag. They're all going to have to sort themselves out, and somehow James Martin did not get squeezed out onto the tyres on the apex coming onto the back straight, and was able to get back up into second and to the salvation, if you like, of the yellow flag.
Yep, that was good driving from everybody just to keep that one under control. There's Garrett Berry, number 60, fastest driver out there at the moment. It's currently Ned Douglas. Unfortunately, he's down in 13th place. Here goes Berry down the inside, going for third place on Bailey Morgan. Block pass, beautifully done. And that's another position now for Garrett Berry, who's come
from 12th place on the grid and is now only one spot of qualifying through to the A final.
And it's closing up even more, Andrew. The top 11 now are covered by just 3 seconds in this B final. It is closing up, and everybody is going to be eyeing up the kart in front of them all the way. Look at this. This is not what you want if you're the top 2. This is pretty much the worst case scenario, albeit fair play to Greg Smith, as you say, Andrew. The move he made on James Martin was a lot cleaner, and he is starting just a few kart lengths to break away here.
Yeah, he's just going to keep pushing now for the next 3 minutes or so. Garrett Berry, there he is now in 3rd place. You see the slightly different lines that the drivers take through the crook. Everyone just, it feels like the boxing last night. Everyone's just, it's a 12-round battle, and we're not even in the 11th round yet. We're still got a long, long way to go. Greg Smith calmly goes through it. There's Ned Douglas down the inside of Ramanas Sakauskas. Good move there for 12th place.
Yeah, good little battle happening in the middle of this pack between Daniel Cohen and Stephen Westwood as well. They were very close. Westwood having a few looks on this lap, but as you can just see there, he flashed onto your shot. It's still behind Cohen, but that's 2 of the closest karts. That's a relative statement. They're all obviously close. Interesting to note, though, Andrew, looks to me like yellows are going to be out for the foreseeable at the boot. Yeah, you've got that stricken kart that was being driven by Bryn Olden, but they seem to be electing to not remove that kart at this time.
If you're Garrett Berry, I think you need to start making a move now. And here he is. He got a very good run out of the first 2 corners. He's going to have a look down the inside of James Martin. No, he just can't quite get it done in the braking zone. He is faster. He looks faster than both of the drivers ahead at the moment. He's got 1 minute and 30 to go, but as you say, he's going to lose opportunities to overtake because of the situation in the boots.
Now, this could help the top 6, I'm going to say, in that I just saw Cohen and Westwood going very defensive. You can see how that pack has sort of broken off the back of this top 6. So it's now Oscar Lancaster who's really the last one on this tail, as Sam Essery goes alongside Bailey Morgan, and I think has got the job done there into the
Great
boot
move.
As Garrett Berry is going on James Martin as well there. This is brilliant stuff, side by side towards paddock. It's going to be Berry ahead of Martin and up into that final promotion spot with just 60 seconds now left on the clock. It's going to be this plus 1 more, and Garrett Berry is right where he needs to be.
He's very, very sharp today. He's Garrett Berry. Bailey Morgan off the road. He's going to get back on circuit. But that's his chances of getting through to the A final done. Garrett Berry, again, reading the situation. It seems to be the thing that you want to do today, as James Martin's looking back down the inside, saw the yellow was clear, and I think just caught James Martin out there, expecting there to be no overtaking at all through the boot. Nips through, gets second.
Don't discount Sam Essery and Oscar Lancaster, though. They are still with these drivers, and if there are any incidents or issues for Berry and Martin, then they're going to be on it like a shark to blood on this one, because they can see the opportunity there as we come around to start the final lap. And Greg Smith, I think he has got enough in hand, Andrew, but it's still not the most comfortable lead that we've seen so far today as we go on to the last lap.
And the crucial thing here is Garrett Berry is driven away from James Martin across the course of that last lap. So even if Berry was to catch Smith, they can work together nicely to solidify these spots in the A final. That's Christmas corner done. That's one of your big opportunities to get an overtake completed, and still Greg Smith leads this from Garrett Berry, but James Martin's coming back at him as they go down. And who's that off? I think it was the 1-4-5. If it is, that's Kim Ely losing a potential spot on the C3 podium.
Cohen and Westwood still battling away, by the way, so don't place your bets yet for 6th place, but this has been brilliantly done, and particularly in the last few laps from Garrett Berry. They're coming around the boot now. I don't think James Martin's going to have any opportunity given. In fact, if anything, Berry is reeling in Greg Smith, and they come around the final corner, and Greg Smith is going to take the win in the B final, and Garrett Berry is going to get the 2nd place and, crucially, the promotion spot up into the A final. James Martin is going to end his day's racing in that painful position of being the first of the non-promotees in 3rd place. Sam Essery, hats off to him, takes the Class 3 win for this round in lightweights, finishing 4th overall in that B final. Oscar Lancaster in 5th. Daniel Cohen did manage to keep Steve Westwood at bay after a pretty much race-long battle. Lloyd McGee at Williams in 8th, 9th for Ashley White. Adam Wilden in 10th, and it was Bailey Morgan, that's where he recovered to, ahead of Ned Douglas. Ramanas Sakauskas in 13th. Then it was Atava Desai, Matthew Cockram, Ross O'Brien, Andrew Rabbage, Amy Breacher, Jagjit Singh and Kim Ely to round out your top 20. So that makes Desai and O'Brien your two of the podium finishers effectively within Class 3 for this one. So congratulations to them both. Then it was Rogerio Mendes, Jed Toole, Dean Everest, Archie Hobson. We saw issues times for Sam Slater and Bryn Olber.
Ooh, that was a good one. That was a very good B final, and a credit to the lightweights class. Drivers come back into pit lane, and we'll see them all hopefully again down at Lyd on the last weekend of October. And we'll get ready now. We'll take a short break on the commentary because the last remaining race for the lightweights here today before the lunch break is, of course, the big one. It's the A final up next. A final time here at Whilton Mill for round 9 of the 2021 Club 100 Lightweight Sprints Championship. Here is the grid. Fraser Brunton is on pole position according to our timing, and definitely is on pole position because he's had a very, very strong set of heats so far today. Dan Healy, second place in the championship last year, going for the title again this year, starts on the front row alongside Fraser Brunton. Peter Knight, very strong here. In previous A finals, has a shot at winning this from the second row of the grid. Ed Bars joins him on that row. Daz Teal and Mike Coppin, probably not in title contention for this year, but start this one on row 3 and a good shot of getting a podium here today. Steve Hicks, the Whilton Mill specialist, starts alongside the ever impressive Josh Adams on row 4. Rihanna Percox, another Whilton Mill specialist, starts there on the 5th row of the grid alongside Reese Pope. Chris Powell, the former Premier Sprint champion, is on the 6th row of the grid on his Club 100 return. Joining him there is Alistair Irvin. Aidan Rudge has had a really good day, starts on the 7th row of the grid, as does Dante Dillon, one of our 3 British Indoor Karting Championship champions. Tom Dix and Jonah Barker start on row number 8. Dan Seeger and Jack O'Neill, championship leader Jack O'Neill, have a lot of work to do there from row number 9. Jason Bradbury has qualified directly for the A final with some great racing so far today. He's on row 10 alongside James Wattis. Ben Lambeth and Tom Kemping start on row 11. Callum Brule and Chris Budger are on row number 12. Those are all of your automatic qualifiers through into the A final, and in a few moments time we will have confirmed your B final repechargees through. It was indeed Greg Smith and Garrett Berry. They passed the weight test and will join this grid on row 13.
Well, I've just been having a look at Fraser Brunton's scoreline this season, and it's worth noting he finished second in the final last time out. So can he go that one better? That's going to be a big thing for him, but he hasn't had a finals victory yet. So that's an exciting story to follow in this one. Well, the whole thing is an exciting story to follow.
This is a very strong grid.
Very strong.
Yeah,
very strong.
The one that kind of clicked it with me was seeing Tom Kemping there. I think down, was it that on row 10? You know, Tom's had a strong day. He's had a very strong, row 11, sorry, Ben Lambeth alongside with him. I think this could be a very, very close A final, where we see the B final was pretty good for a tight pack at the front all going for the win. I think this train could be even longer over the course of the next 12 minutes. A finalists get a little bit of practice just to check the karts over, so don't worry, you're not missing any racing action if they go at full pelt for the next few laps. Keep your comments coming in. Hello to Matt Hale, who says full send with elbows out for Mr. Hicks. He's starting on the 4th row of the grid. Lots of support actually from Steve Hicks, mainly from the iRacing Legends crew. He missed earlier in the week, Wednesday night, the latest round of the Club 100 ABkC iRacing Championship. Extracurricular activities for the Club 100 community. Go and watch that stream back over on the Double Dash Motorsport Media YouTube channel. And it was a good one around Suzuka in the Fezzer, in the Ferrari GT3s. More to come between now and the end of the year on that one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to, I still want to sort of emphasize, Andrew, the importance of heats, just to give the link between the, you know, the 12 heats we've seen in these finals. The difference in points between Bryn Olban, who was on pole for the B final, and Chris Woodger, who was already in this final, no matter what happened, was 1 point across the heats. Woodger had 73 points, Bryn Olban 72. That's the difference. That's what determines it. I know it's almost a statement of the obvious when we say your points determine the grids, but it's so close today that every position in those heats has really mattered.
A further 5 points puts you in the middle of the pack.
Exactly.
Dante Dillon there, who scored through with 78 points, and it's pretty much a point per position. Through those heats, so yeah, very, very close indeed. And David Whitehouse said it was not a good one at Suzuka.
Well, it didn't go his way. I think it's fair to say that, but he had a good race at the weekend prior to it.
More incidents than a DDMM Barnstormers endurance display yesterday. There we go, bang, we got one back.
Apparently that is now being considered as an SI unit for calamitous races, a DDMM Barnstormer of the race.
Wilson, it's not been, either of them haven't been very good this year. Anyway, moving on, there is the pace kart, out ready to pick up the field, form up the grid, and how about this for Fraser Brunton? Wearing, I don't want to use the term bandit suit, but I can't think of another one.
He's not going flashy, is he?
No.
You know?
What's going on?
It's a humble and unassuming outfit for the pole sitter. But yeah, that's I can use that excuse for my girl. They expect me to be slow. But this is quite.
You didn't crash yesterday, so
it's true. I didn't. But you know, it's actually got me more worried. I'm the member of the team that didn't exercise with demons yesterday and have a crash. I don't know what that means for Lid.
We had me doing a Steve Brown impression. Good morning, Steve. Or we never. Hello, if you're watching. I had a good attempt at recreating your crash, and our other teammate, bless him, did a bit of a David Coulthard Adelaide 1995. Or a Piers Pryor, if he's listening on the cameras, is the one more akin to Club 100 ABkC Racing. Anyway, enough about our terrible endurance race yesterday. Let's talk about this A final in the lightweights. And Mr. Streamed Round, also on the front row here, Dan Healy.
Yep.
Can he do it again? Can he take another A final win when the cameras are on this field?
I reckon we should talk to Mr. Healy about possible.
Ed Bars has had a kart change. Just to note that was him coming into position late on there. He's had a kart change, so it's an interesting play by the reigning champion.
Yep, going to have needed to have warmed it up as best he can. And did I see someone else just going into the pits as well?
Yeah, we'll see if we are good for a start on this one. But there, number 71, Fraser Brunton, looking for a first A final of the season. Are going to go around again for another formation lap.
Just seeing if I can see out the window who's come in. It's not that driver because that's a Nicky Richardson.
But David Whitehouse is now sucking up to us and reminding us that we're both cleaner than Max Verstappen, according to the
that's
team
true
stats from last weekend.
It's true. We've got, and that's not.
That was obvious already because I don't drive over people's roll hoops.
We've got data to show it. We can back this up.
I'm getting myself in big trouble today, aren't I?
We're going to gloss over the fact that none of the cars we were racing against had roll hoops, but that's not. That's immaterial. Right, here we are. You can check this all out on the Double Dash Motorsport Media YouTube channel if you want to find out what we're talking about. But here we go at Whilton Mill. Are we going to be good? Yes, we are going to be good. So it's the 71 of Fraser Brunton looking for his first finals win, at least this season, with Dan Healy alongside. Away we go then. for the A final for round number 9. It's a good start from the pole sitter, and Peter Knight is going to try to slot into second place, which he does do so. Daz Teal is going to pull alongside Dan Healy, and he's going to cut in front, and it's a good start from Steve Hicks as well, from 7th on the grid. The pole side got away much better there, but Ed Bars is going to hold off Steve Hicks through Christmas corner. Mike Coppin trying to get involved as well, as it all looks clean enough to me through the top part of the lap, but it was a dream start there for Fraser Brunton. Full start.
I thought that was coming. It's not actually come up on our little replay monitor in the booth yet, but I think Fraser Brunton's start was a little bit too good there, and that's why that's been called a false start. I'm just having another look at it now. Yeah, Fraser's gone completely on his own. So that I can understand why that's been... Whoa! As there's an incident towards the back there. Chris Powell's involved. I think there was a marshal there as well. I hope everybody's okay down there. But the grid forming up again now.
Yeah, it was a very freaky event. There was a photographer jumping out the way.
And, well, I'll make sure that once we receive any news, we'll give it to you. Yeah, Chris Powell's perfectly okay. He's pulling the cart out of the tyre barrier there. I think he headed there in avoiding action.
On the left-hand side of mine is the one that got knocked over.
But, this will delay the start, the second start of the A final.
Yeah, and it was... okay, so I don't think Chris Powell actually... Just seen it on our little replay monitor here. I don't think Chris Powell hurt anyone. It was just John the photographer jumping out the way, but managed to get out the way. There...
Was it
Oh,
John?
no, sorry, it wasn't John.
Bond.
It wasn't, sorry. It wasn't. It's a very small replay monitor. But... but nonetheless...
John's far more sensible involved in that sort of
nonetheless, yeah, no one... They were flying to get out the way. They weren't flying because there had been contact. I think that's the key thing there. But goodness me, what a dramatic way to bring the field back around to formation. But yeah, it was a premature shot, and it was mentioned in the briefing that drivers need to look for the green lights.
Before they put the foot down.
Indeed, and indeed, I believe green light takes precedent over acceleration line, because there is one here at Whilton Mill. So I wonder, I don't know if, I think he went before the acceleration line as well, to be honest. But either way, we're forming up again here. The usual sports psychology part of, here we go again.
That's very strange. Very strange, because actually, you know, it's a staff member wasn't in the middle of the track.
No.
So I'm not quite sure what's happening.
I don't know how did Chris it was Chris Powell,
yeah,
you know, like this is not lacking in experience here.
Premium Powell went like the premium fuel in this country.
It did,
in the last 2 weeks, straight to the wall.
It just scarpered. Yeah, very unusual. I don't even know what would cause that going down the back straight like that, unless maybe he hadn't clocked there was a full start and suddenly everyone starts checking up in front.
Yeah, maybe.
And he just goes off in avoidance. That's quite possible, I suppose.
We're going to have to put a disclaimer now on this loop that no Club 100 staff members were injured in the making of this stream. But I suspect we may also have a little bit of time off here, because the false start was as a result of the drivers not taking the start properly.
Quite, yeah.
So we'll see what direction comes from race control. But I think we are under starters orders now for the second attempt at this A final in the lightweights. It's the 2021 Club 100 Lightweight Sprints Championship, round number 9, A final. Away we go then. Is it going to be a better start? It is going to be a better start. Fraser Brunton will take us into turn 1 in the lead. Peter Knight is already up to second. Daz Teal up to P3 as they all squabble for their positions on the run up to Christmas corner. Into the first braking zone. Mike Coppin in the middle of it all, nearly 4-5 wide. And some of them are going to be in the grass. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers. Tom Dix, Chris Powell, Josh Adams is in the grass as well. And round there goes the number 53. Ben Lambeth is off, and Jack O'Neill was involved in all of that as well. Josh Adams is off. Oh, that's a real shame for Josh Adams, who's had a brilliant weekend here at Whilton Mill, but it ends on lap 1 in the A final.
And we've got Reece Pope battling away there as well. He starts as the highest place of the Class 2 runners in this one, and I saw Alistair Irvine having a real challenge on him through Christmas corner, but Pope was able to hold it off. So good battle. Excuse me, of course, Peter Knight is the highest place. There's the change. Daz Teal getting by on Peter Knight as they finish lap 1, but it's still Fraser Brunton in the lead of this one on lap 2.
Daz Teal, one of the most experienced members of this field, a brilliant first lap, has got himself up to P2. Dan Healy looking down the inside of Peter Knight there for third place. Can't get the move done. So let's just take stock then. It's Brunton from Teal, Knight, Healy, Bars, Hicks, Coppin, Percox, Pope and Barker. That's your top 10 at the end of lap number 1.
And a bad first lap here for Jack O'Neill, Andrew, down 5 positions, so he got involved in some of the ruckus that occurred across the top of the slope here, I think. I don't think he was one of the karts we saw going over the grass, but not the start that Jack O'Neill needed.
He was one of the karts in trouble coming through Inkermans. Now you just wonder for karts number 2 and 1 there in the centre of your screen, are they aware of that? Because that completely changes the context of this race for them now. It kind of takes the pressure off having to win it. Now it becomes about, right, make sure you get a good score on the board. It's going to be a drop as Healy goes for it on Knight, trying to get P3, gets P3. Bars maybe through as well round the outside. Through Boxing Day, Steve Hicks is on the inside as well. They're all ganging up on the youngster of Peter Knight here. Mike Coppin's going for a little bit of rallycross into Ashby, and somehow they have all survived.
Yeah, it's amazing how they do these exchanges. Reese Pope now on the outside of Mike Coppin, and that's going to allow Dan Seeger and the 63 of Jonah Barker as well to maybe have a go at him. This is important in Class 2. I did say that Reese Pope was highest placed of those. It is, of course, Peter Knight, your highest placed Class 2, but this is still good for the podium in Class 2 as Dan Seeger gets by on the 63 there of Jonah Barker. But now Alistair Irvin buys into that. Now he's up into third within that subclass.
Let's have a look at the times. 54.1 for Brunton last time around. 53.9 for Daz Teal. Daz Teal has the pace to win this race at Whilton Mill today. And it's been quite a while, I think, since Daz Teal has been in this position in an A final. Would be a very, very popular result in the paddock if he was able to pull it off, but there's still a long way in this race to go. Look at this swarm of karts down into Ashby Corner. But crucially, third and fourth place they're the ones that we're looking at in terms of championship. There is Jack O'Neill at the back, and who's that going wide? It's the number 125. It's Rudge. Aidan Rudge is out of the race, and that's a real shame. A driver who deserved a lot more in this A final is out.
There's Chris Powell, though, down the inside of Tom Kemping in the boot. Now, you've got to be careful with a move like that because it opens the opportunity for us indeed. Chris Woodger it is who's trying to buy into this now on the inside of Kemping, and he's got the job done there, I think, as they come on to lap number 5. Garrett Berry trying to buy into this as well. Here's the battle at the front, though. Move for second place. Dan Healy down the inside of Daz Teal and gets the job done. And now, Andrew, they've got to keep it in touch with Fraser Brunton. Is there an opportunity for Ed Bars or Steve Hicks as Mike Coppin is going side by side with Rhianna Percox as they go through Ashby Corner? That's in the battle over 7th place.
Mr. Alpha Livestream is at it again. He always tends to do this and has this late season run. We saw it occurring at Bayford Meadows a few weeks ago. And now, with 5.5 minutes to go, Dan Healy has a chance here of taking another round win.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go for a mega switchback there on the second apex, but there wasn't the opportunity given by Fraser Brunton. He closed the door on that, just as Dan Healy we saw doing the same thing earlier in the day. Stop it on the dime on that second apex and deny the person the space on the inside heading into paddock. Up the hill they come again. Brunton, does he feel the need to go defensive? He opens out the gap, and Dan Healy's going for it. There's pod-to-pod contact. They're all going to check up. They're all going to check up, and that's going to allow Daz Teal to go to the front. He's going to seize the opportunity. Peter Knight's going around the outside. Inkerman's up into second place, and Steve Hicks is now down the inside. Ed Bars is on the outside of Ashby. He's going to be careful out on the concrete not to get forced out onto the grass, as Dan Healy is down to at least 5th or 6th place in that exchange. And it is Daz Teal ahead of Peter Knight, ahead of Fraser Brunton now, your top 3.
It was that a crack under the pressure from Dan Healy, and it's a penalty. It's a forcing driver wide penalty for Dan Healy. It's not going to be an A final victory, no matter what happens out there on circuit now. Daz Teal, confirmed as your leader, has not won an A final in this championship since February 2020, round 1 of the 2020 season at Buckmore Park. Has a little tap of the helmet there to Peter Knight to say, come on, let's work together. There's still a long, long way to go in this race, but it's Teal from Knight, Brunton, Steve Hicks there in 4th. And Mike Coppin going very, very wide there out of Inkermans, gets it back on circuit and lives to fight another day.
I think he was around about he's close to Reese Pope, I think, coming through Inkermans. He's not unfortunately blamed in any way. I'm just, that's the driver's sort of part of the field that he was in. I've got to say, by the way, in the background of all this, Jack O'Neill is picking off 1, 2 positions every single lap. He is doing his best to work his way up here. I still think it's a case of damage limitations. He's some 7.5 seconds off of these leaders, but he is doing his absolute best. As Ed Bars is chasing Rihanna Perkox for 5th, just behind this top 4 that are working their way up the hill now.
New fastest lap of the race so far, 53.269 for Steve Hicks there in 4th place. And let's just say, from something earlier in the week, Steve does not want to finish 4th again. Folks at home will know what I mean about that. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go. And still Daz Teal controlling this race at the front of the field. Just keeping an eye out for Perkox and Bars. They're working nicely together at the moment. Perkox ahead of Bars, but it is now becoming a 6-way battle at the front of this field, and there's still 3 minutes to go.
Teal goes defensive, so he'll be slightly compromised through the rest of the boot, will he? Actually, nobody has the overspeed as they come round. Again, you say it's 6 karts, Andrew. I think that it's a bit more than that, because I think the likes of Healy, Irvin and Pope are getting onto the back of this pack as they come up the hill again. It's a little wide there for Knight, and is that going to allow Brunton up the inside? It certainly is.
Yellow flags out.
Yellow flags out. They're going to have to sort themselves out as they come through Christmas Corner. Daz Teal gets a little bit of salvation from that potentially there, but it is Brunton past Knight now, so a change for 2nd place through the top part of the lap as they're downhill into Ashby. Steve Hicks under severe pressure now from Rihanna Perkox and Ed Bars, who, as you say, Andrew, has been working with her to get onto terms with this. There's actually a few kart lengths now between the top 3, and Steve Hicks in 4th as Ed Bars goes for it on Rihanna Perkox into Ozier's late move, big move, and I think he's made that stick. But did Alistair Irvin manage to, Dan Healy managed to buy into that one as well, potentially? We'll have to look at that for as they come round here. Peter Knight with a bit of extra speed on Fraser Brunton, but can't do anything with it as they come through to finish lap number 9.
Big lap this for the top 4. There's a bit of a gap again with that move by Bars, which he needed to do. And track limit warning for Alistair Irvin there, the number 36. Teal goes for a half defensive position as down the inside goes Peter Knight. Pod-to-pod contact between the 2 youngsters. Steve Hicks trying to find a way through, but cannot find the space. Is he going to go for a move down into Ashby? No, Knight defends that well, but once again, it all closes up now. That brings Bars back into play. Healy, Perkox, Pope, even Dan Seeger there, having a cracking race in 9th place at the moment. We said to look out for him here at Whilton Mill. He tends to run strongly round here, and that's him getting past Reese Pope now for 8th.
Yeah, Steve Hicks had to go so deep in avoidance into Boxing Day corner that he was almost at New Year's Eve as Peter Knight is having another challenge on Fraser Brunton there, and then again the opportunity is going to open up for those behind, and again there's no space to do anything with it. Honestly, I think if we'd have been on the old profile of the last corner, we'd have seen some moves there, to be honest with you. Such is the opportunity that was presented there. Coming up the hill once again, now it's Peter Knight who's in the slipstream for the lead of the race. Look at Dan Healy, there's a penalty for Reese Pope. That could be costly in Class 2. That's for forcing a driver wide, side by side between Peter Knight and Fraser Brunton. And Brunton is through on Knight through the top of the hill. Daz Teal going defensive again. There's going to be good exit from Ashby here for Brunton. Is he going to have an opportunity into Wilkins? Ed Bars and Dan Healy trying to stay on terms with these drivers, and Daz Teal is going super defensive, and look out for Peter Knight swooping around the outside, but will he have the room coming onto the back straight? Yes, he is, but Steve Hicks is coming alongside and will have the inside for the first part of the boot, but Ed Bars somehow finds another gap on the inside. Steve Hicks will have the inside on Apex 2 and 3 of the boot, and now Dan Healy fancies suddenly getting back in on this fight as well, as he's down the inside of Ed Bars at paddock, somehow finding the space through as we go on to the final lap.
And crucially gets ahead of his championship rival. Just for the record, Jack O'Neill is working his way up through the positions. He's 13th now, but I don't think that's going to be enough to gain more points in the championship. Fraser Brunton tries to go round the outside of Daz Teal there. Hicks is going to be on the inside now for Inkermans, but just pulls out of it, wants to retain the 3rd place. To remind you, Daz Teal has not won a lightweight sprint A final since February 2020. He is half a lap away from breaking that duck. There's a yellow flag out coming onto the back straight. No opportunity for Brunton to get through there. It's going to come down to, and in fact, I think this yellow is in the boot as well. This one may be nullified. What a win this would be. A very popular win. Round the final final corner. Daz Teal, for the first time in 2021, wins a lightweight sprints A final by 0.036 on the line. Oh my goodness, Daz, you nearly threw it away, mate. Fraser Brunton, a personal best record of second in one of these races. Steve Hicks does not finish fourth. Coggles, you can be happy about that. He's on the podium. Peter Knight wins in C2, fourth overall. What a talent he is. Dan Seeger, brilliant today, second in C2, fifth overall. But this is where we really get into the big scores now, and the championship table is going to be very, very interesting at the end of today. Dan Healy finishes 6th, but has penalties. Ed Bars finishes 7th. That is not the result that he would have been looking for in this A final. Rihanna Percox finishes in 8th. Reese Pope 9th, but has a penalty at the end on that last lap. Alistair Irvin, that's a solid top 10.
Third in C2
and
as
third
well.
in C2 once penalties are applied. Jonah Barker 11th. James Wattis 12th. Jack O'Neill 13th, but I think is breathing a sigh of relief. That was an opening of the door for his championship rivals, and they've not taken the opportunity. Chris Powell finishes 14th, had a monster curb penalty on the last lap. Tom Kemping 15th, 16th for Chris Woodgers, 17th for Garrett Berry from the B final. Dante Dillon 18th, Tom Dix 19th, Jason Bradbury in 20th, Callum Brule 21st, Greg Smith 22nd, Ben Lambeth 23rd, who was in trouble on lap 1 and only finishes 10.5 seconds off the leader. That just shows you how tight and crazy that A final was. 24th for Josh Adams, definitely deserved a lot more here today. Likewise for Aidan Rudge, 25th, and a retirement for Mike Coppin, classified in 26th. Wow, as Jay Elliott puts it, yes, Dazicella, get in there. That, I think you could have got long odds on Daz Teal being our A final winner here today, but a fully deserved victory.
Absolutely, mate, absolutely. To be honest, I wouldn't have placed a bet for that race. I just wouldn't have taken the punt. But no, great drive from Daz Teal. What you know, great clean moves.
Yeah.
Judging the because of the way that you can have a proper dogfight around Whilton Mill. You know, it's all about judging these situations. Situational awareness around Whilton Mill is absolutely crucial, and that has paid off for Daz Teal right there. Fantastic win, popular win, as you say, the first of 2021. Goodness me, but yeah, a little bit of you know, Ed Bars would have hoped to have been higher up than that on a day when Jack O'Neill has not had things go right for him in the heats. I did spot, by the way, we were obviously rightly looking at the craziness up front. Good little battle between Jack O'Neill and Chris Powell on the last couple of laps, by the way, that I was seeing in the back of shot as well. So that one was great, but what a treat that one was. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And do you know what? I hesitate to talk about races of the year because the lightweight A finals and heavyweight A finals have just been so superb this year, but that was highly, highly entertaining.
Should we do it all again this afternoon with the heavyweights?
All right, then.
Well, we're going to go to a break now, a bit of a lunch break. If you have enjoyed that, do make sure you've liked the stream, click the subscribe button, the notification bell as well, and shared it out on your social media platforms of your choice, because we're going to do it all again this afternoon for the heavyweights. Thank you very much for being with us here this morning in the early afternoon for round 9 of the Club 100 Lightweight Sprints Championship for 2021. I've been Andrew Mather, he's been Howard Mitchell, we've been Double Dash Motorsport Media, your commentary providers for this Alpha live stream. We will be back later on this afternoon, as I say, for round 9 of the heavyweights. See you then.